Hey everybody, and welcome. Today we're going to be reviewing Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. And of course, you may not see them, but I have Puganator2020 as well as, of course, Billie, Petal here to review the movies with me. So, you guys want to say hi to everybody?
Hi. Hello.
Alright, for a lot of you guys have mentioned, I've mentioned this before, but for the first movie in particular, Night of the Living Dead, this was Puganator2020's first ever horror movie she's ever watched. So, this honestly, I'm gonna be very surprised if the score is at least around the 50 or at least somewhere around a 40 range. It'd be amazing if there was a thank you for the like. But yeah, it would be interesting. But alright, so let's talk about this a little bit before we get started. What was your first experience with the movie?
My first experience.
When you first watched it in theaters or at home?
Well, I saw it. It was scary. I was young. I was like 5 or 6 years old. I watched it with my sister and my mom.
Nice.
And it was mortifying, but it was good. A good mortifying.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up watching creature features and all that, all the Godzilla movies and
nice.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I really gotta start watching some of those old Godzilla movies. I miss those.
Yeah, so it was cool.
What about you, Des? What did you think when you watched the movie for the first time?
The first time I ever saw it was in film study at school in like, I think junior year. I had sort of an attendance problem, so I saw like the very beginning, the very middle, and then the very end. I never saw like the guts. But I was like,
I blessed her.
you did bless me. But it was just seeing the very beginning and then the fight in the middle briefly, and then the actual ending with his name is Ben, right? Getting killed was such a shock to the system that I've never forgotten that the first time I've seen parts of it. So
True enough.
I really like it. I think it's classic. You know,
Definitely classic.
definitely.
I think the first time I ever watched it was when I was in high school, and I think it was it was junior high, and me and my classmates were watching the movie for the first time for I guess a cultural studies, because inadvertently it was pretty cultural at the time in 1968. So when we were watching the film, that was when I really started to see the almost the charm of horror movies. Though I wouldn't have gotten into it if it wasn't for Puganator here, who I swear to God forced me to watch every horror movie in theaters, and that's when I just started getting used to it.
I did not force you.
You had no one else to turn to!
Yes, I encouragingly requested.
Encouraging my butt.
Because I had nobody else to go with me.
You see, over in California, she had so many friends that would go with her to watch horror movies. After we moved, because my dad's in the military, I was the one who had to be forced into it. But I'm actually kind of glad she did, because now I have a whole new appreciation for horror films and what the guys had to do to make those things work.
Right. There's a whole element of, there's so much going on in horror films that's so much extra on top of just the acting.
True enough.
It's definite respect there.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you guys give this in scare factor? The original Night of the Living Dead and the original Dawn of the Dead.
The original.
The original Night of the Living Dead, I would say a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. That was
Dawn
shocking.
of the Dead was
shocking.
probably
Can I give negative
4.
points?
Actually, the strange thing is, I actually still give it. I'd still give it at least a 5. It's average. However, I also found out that he deliberately wanted to make some of those scenes comedical. It was deliberately George A. Romero who suggested it.
Yeah, there's some funny little moments in the Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, some of it works. Some of it, unfortunately, does not hit the mark.
The remake was way better.
But that's because that movie took itself more seriously than the other
yeah.
one did.
So are we scoring Dawn of the Dead, the first one, like...
We're going to start with
simply
Night of the
on
Living...
the scare factor.
When it comes to scare factor, I think this is just more of a fun little scoring we should do for it.
Okay.
But for Dawn of the Dead, I would definitely...
2.
Good lord. Am I the only one that's being lenient here?
Yes.
Good God.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm willing to agree with Puganator on Night of the Living Dead, 10 out of 10. I was actually genuinely terrified when I first saw it when I was younger. I was like,
Shocking.
good lord.
It was just creepy. It was old style creepy.
Not to mention, it was the movie that started this whole zombie craze. It was the one that really got it off its feet.
The makeup was good, way better than the Dawn of the Dead. The way the zombies walked and everything, way better than Dawn of the Dead.
The sidebar, you have to own that Romero didn't call them zombies. He called them ghoulies.
In the first one?
In the first one, yeah.
Well...
Oh, yeah, I
He
remember
intended
that.
them to
Strange.
be zombies. That's just what everybody accepted
That's
them to
so
be.
funny too, because
And
that's
then it
kind of
morphed into that.
that's kind of where zombies
that's
started.
The mythos. Yeah.
Technically, zombies started way back in the early 1900s in cinema, but when it comes down to the modern zombie, it started with him.
Yeah.
Also, yes,
It's
Austin.
ironic.
Also, Austin String. Yes, I remember. I almost shot you with an RPG. Yeah, during the last stream, I shot a rocket at some enemies, and apparently, I nearly shot him.
And see, now you go from Night of the Living Dead, and then to this day, current World War Z. You know,
World War Z seems a little
That
too
was a
much of the
different-
infected one. Infected more than zombies ever was, because first of all, the modern zombie does not
True.
run. They
Yes,
only
true.
walk, or in this case,
True.
stumble.
well, and it is based on an infection.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost
Not
like
so
28
much-
days later and 28
Yes,
weeks later. That's an
yes,
infection.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
entirely
true.
different than zombies.
It's like a
True.
sub-zombie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A subgenre, a subgenre of
Yeah.
zombies.
Yes.
And honestly, and if you take a look at Walking Dead. That one had them
Oh, yeah.
stumbling all the time, so that's a good
Yeah.
example of that one being part of the zombie
Z
genre.
Nation.
Right. Yeah, that one's
Z-Nation's
that's
pretty good.
more of an infection too, though, I think. But they are like zombies. They're more like zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. It is more like an infection.
Yeah.
True. It's just all kind of one thing to me, kind of.
I
sort of.
know.
I don't know why.
Austin Stream says that he likes the 28 weeks later theme music.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is good.
Yeah.
It's
That's
actually
super
really good.
creepy. That movie
Yeah.
is really creepy.
It's actually done
That's
very
that
well.
one where he wakes up
Yeah,
in
the
the
first
hospital,
time I
right?
saw
Yeah.
that movie was with
No,
you.
that was
and it
28
scared
days
the
later.
crap out of me.
Which one was the other? What was
28 weeks later is when they're
The
in
second
England, when they were holding, when that one dude in the beginning where he gets attacked with his family, gets attacked by that infected horde, and he's the only one who leaves his family behind and runs off.
I'm gonna have to watch that. 'Cause
Second
I'm sure
one.
How in
I
the world
have.
have you not seen it?
No,
back?
I'm sure I've
it's
seen
with
so
the guy
many.
from the Full Monty.
Thank you.
Monty. Is it Monty?
I think it's Monty. No, I don't remember.
I'll have to
Like,
watch
no,
it
is
again
that
though
his
because
name?
now
I
I
think that's
can't
his
think
name.
of it right off. But I'm sure I've seen it because I've seen almost every.
It's the second one. So the 28 Days Later is the one with the beautiful.
Basically, 28 days later
I
is
know who
name.
you're talking. I know.
yeah.
the
28 days
color
later basically is
mix
the guy
something.
from the hospital leaves and
Yes,
is traveling
yes,
around.
yes.
Yeah, that
20
one's
weeks later
really
is when
creepy.
the entire country's in lockdown.
And the dad goes back with his kids, and they find the mom in the house.
Oh
Who's
yes,
infect-
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the
And-
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one was
And
good.
he kisses her, and he becomes infected, and
Yeah.
he's like obsessed with his children.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
That was a fun one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's
That
time for
sounds
us.
psychotic.
Oh, and it does, but again, that's how the writer did it, though.
Right.
Here we go, and now we're gonna get started with what do you guys think the score for Night of the Living Dead is going to be?
49.
Pretty close to. I'm gonna say 47.
I would have said 50, but that's just not realistic.
Right.
You know, there's got to be a flaw.
There's a little bit of flaw.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But I would say, for the most part, I love the whole movie.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a 45 because I feel like that will give a flexible number of where it could go higher or lower. For me.
Right.
Not to mention, I actually think that my score is gonna be a lot higher in this particular case. But still, if you guys like what we do here, please follow us on YouTube. Sorry, I don't know why I keep messing that up. Follow me on Twitch, Facebook, and subscribe to us on our YouTube channels, including this one right here. If you want more content, we do this show every single Saturday from 2 to 4. Pacific Standard Time, of course. So, let's get started with story. I gotta be honest, the story itself is very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really how a lot of the tropes of the zombie genre got started. And honestly, I do love the cemetery scene. The two siblings walking over, visiting their parents' graves, and then all of a sudden this random dude attacks. And you don't even know he's a zombie yet until later.
Right.
It doesn't
It's the
really
whole
even.
trope. The
Do
whole
they
trope.
really ever even say
So that's
basically?
the thing with
No.
Romero.
Actually, zombies never even came up until the Dawn of the Dead.
Right. They don't actually call them that. They call them ghoulies.
Right, but
It
what
was
I
Ken
was
Forey
gonna
who
say,
said it.
Attention, if you listen, now this is a
to the
common
TV,
theme
to the
to the TV
broadcast.
and the radio.
Yes,
In all of
That's what
his
I thought.
movies, all of Romero's movies, he gives so much of
information.
the origin story
Yeah.
of the cause and how to deal with them and how to
Of course, we
kill
don't
them.
pay
And
attention.
then there's a military
Yes, no, I
subplot
do-
running through the whole damn story.
I do
and
remember
none of
that.
the characters pay attention to
Yeah,
it.
no, I do.
Nobody,
I do
they
remember
totally-
some of that.
They just phase that shit
Yeah,
all out. It's
yeah.
all the truth is right there, waiting for them.
Yeah.
All they need to know, but nobody's fucking paying attention. Oh, sorry. Nobody's paying attention. It's fascinating. though, 'cause
Honestly,
that's-
honestly, I'm with you on that one.
That's one of his tropes. So that's specifically. I'm sorry, I have a cough drop in my mouth, so I'm like blah blah. So it's like specifically Romero's like that's his niche, man. He is in every single one of his films. Like he's like, here's all the fucking information you need, but don't pay attention to it. There you go.
Yeah,
and
it's-
they've used
Hilarious,
actually. The Night of the Living Dead in the background on the TV.
Yeah.
In so many movies. It's
Okay.
Yeah, because
incredible.
you searched that out.
okay,
Yes, yes.
here's actually something very funny. During the production, after the production of the movie and the movie was released, George A. Romero kind of forgot to copyright the movie.
Bummer.
Because of that, now every horror movie references it.
But you know what though? I actually like that.
He doesn't.
I
He
mean,
didn't mind
even
from
though-
what I heard.
Even though I think that, there's maybe loss of revenue there,
There is.
Right.
it's so nostalgic.
Everybody's paying homage.
Yes,
right?
it's
Homage?
nostalgic.
Homage.
Homage,
Not to
Yeah.
mention the movie itself is one of the most iconic horror movies in history. It's
Oh, yeah, for
so in a
sure.
way, I don't honestly think he lost too much out of it because now
No.
people are buying his movies,
Yeah.
Right.
watching them, watching how the whole zombie genre got started.
Yeah, and if
Right,
you don't
right.
have it, you see it on the TV, on the movie, and you think, damn, I need to buy Night
Right.
of the Living Dead because that movie's a rockin' movie.
Right, and it's...
It almost kind of reminds me of a thing from another world.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because even Rob Zombie actually used to sell that movie all the time, and he thought, why not put it in my movie? And honestly, it's a great movie. It's the movie that spawned the remake, The Thing.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
So honestly, I really think that if some horror movies are willing to bring in some of the classics for reference, I think that'd be pretty cool.
It is
right. Cool. It is cool. I think story-wise, I love that it starts like right in the middle of the hell, right? Like
pandemic.
It doesn't explain it until there's the overabundance that nobody pays attention to of information.
Right.
And it's like we were talking, Puganator and I were talking about how like we didn't like that.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
That's so classic.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
like,
hold on, I can
Yes.
do it. I'll try to do it.
Okay.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
I love it. That's like one of my favorite parts.
I love his polka dot tie. His tie
Yes.
is great, and her hair is.
Actually, it's also
So
kind of
annoying.
cathartic that she dies from her brother's
It's
hand.
so sad.
That is actually kind of
You know
funny.
what, though? We were talking about it really bothered us that Barbara does not stop for a moment to make sure that Johnny is in fact dead when he bonks his head on the radio.
Yeah, she
She's
just, like,
all like,
splits.
oh, no, bye. You know?
No.
But she doesn't even like, but she's in
What
shock.
a woman. What
Plus,
a woman.
And that's another thing that we talked about, like our rage with how stupid
Yes,
women
yes.
are at this era
Although, I don't
of
know,
film.
the couple, the young
wife?
couple,
Oh, the young.
she was cool.
Oh, no, she lost her shit and ran out to the truck.
Oh, that's true.
But
That's true.
hold on,
She was
hold on.
so
I'm
big.
willing to make an excuse for her.
Ugh.
Both her and her fiance, I guess.
Fiancé, yeah.
Yeah, both of them were in a panic. They literally didn't have any weapons
Yeah, but
at
he
all.
wouldn't- he would
Barbara
not-
was just like
Barbara
crazy
was literally
courage.
just an absolute
Wreck.
dead weight.
Yeah.
She was a wreck.
Yeah.
But had the girlfriend not gone with him, he wouldn't have died because he stayed to get her unstuck from her seatbelt, and then they
True.
exploded.
I
You know?
wouldn't have put my seatbelt on.
Right? I don't know.
That would have been the last thing I would
Completely
have worried
irrational.
about.
Yeah, I know. You
Yeah.
gotta be able to keep going, as
Yeah.
Brad Pitt has informed us
Yes.
in the previous,
Yeah.
True. But for what it's worth, though, some of the characters you can definitely tell. And here's the strange thing: he never even meant for it to have any. Originally, never really meant to symbolize the times at all.
Right.
Because remember, this was during a time when Martin Luther King Jr. had already just gotten shot and killed.
Yeah, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks right before it.
Yeah.
The movie got released in theaters.
It was actually after.
And the black dude almost lived. And you know what? The black dude lives in Dawn of the Dead. The
What's his
remake,
name?
too.
Peter.
Yeah.
The original, actually, funny thing about that, I'll tell you about that when we do the actual part with Dawn of the Dead. But, yeah, let's just say that it's going to be interesting to tell you what happens in that one.
I see. I read an article with Romero saying that he had that it wasn't intentional, but like how could it not come out, like the political era
At the time,
At the
especially
time.
with the whole civil rights movement right at its
he
peak.
said that it was you couldn't avoid it. It was
Yeah,
it seeped in, and it really does. In the movie, you can definitely get the vibe that them white people aren't
Yeah.
so pleasant.
Yeah. They were all about lynching. and-
Right.
But here's the
Yeah.
strange thing. Not,
Scary.
he also
Super
showed that not
disturbing.
all of them
Yes,
were
very.
like that.
That's
like the
true.
couple.
Like the young
True.
couple.
Like the young
Yeah.
couple
Young
honestly
couple.
wanted to help him out and
They did.
wanted to get out of there and survive.
And then you had
they were
Mr.
willing to work with him.
Jerkoff.
Oh yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, that guy was
I have
that guy
all
was
their-
an asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, it shows that the social commentary was very mixed, especially during that particular time frame. So honestly, even though it wasn't intentional, he did a really good job in a way. He showed it
Right.
very subtly how the climate in our society was going.
And that
at
was
point.
unavoidable.
Right.
That was like something that just.
It was just true, is what
Yeah.
it was.
And it's
that
the
was
reason.
life.
Yeah.
Unpleasantly
Yeah,
so. Yes.
so-
It's the reason why it was one of the biggest successes during
Right.
the 1960s.
It was pretty raw. It was honest.
It was honestly also one of the most successful movies since Psycho.
Right.
And that's saying a lot because Psycho had held the title for one of the greatest horror movies of all time for 8 years until that movie came out. So that shows you a lot, that just how,
Popular it was.
not to mention it came out at the right time.
It did. It did.
So what would you guys rate scale of 1 to 10 for a story?
I'm gonna give it a 10.
Yeah,
I
me
actually
too.
want to tell you, I wrote down because I paid hard attention. That's not a proper But anyway, I
Really
paid attention,
good
really
attention.
good attention. I'd be educated. To what they were saying on the radio and the TV, and it says the radiation from the Venus probes. It was a military thing, and that when the satellites returned from the Venus probes, the radiation levels rose on the planet, and that is what was causing the mutation. Huh. And I love how...
Why did it affect just the dead people, though?
I don't know. They don't... So, because I wrote, it's like they're giving just enough plot points to imply there's a big underlining origin and subplot going on, but they don't actually have to fully develop this plot point. They just give enough.
Basically, they're leaving it to the...
Viewer's imagination.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that part where the doctor on TV is like trying to explain, right, that you have to immediately take them out to the street and burn them, and the guy's like, well, that doesn't give you much time for funeral arrangements.
I know.
And the guy's like, no, it doesn't. You know?
Yeah, it's
that
like,
was fucking. That was one of the best parts. That was like the funniest.
I was like, dude, it's obvious. You destroy the body,
Right.
make sure they don't come back.
Right, it's an apocalypse.
You're worried about a funeral?
Right, get with it, man.
Yeah.
Sure, let it eat your face while you're planning the arrangements, the flower arrangements.
Right.
Jeez.
But yeah, I'm willing to give it a 10 myself.
Yeah.
So, mainly because I think that the social commentary, as well as, of course, just the simplicity of the story, really mixed very well.
They kept it real. They made it seem...
Like it was something that could have happened.
Yeah, well, and just like the commentary on the TV and there was just
Everybody's
different
reactions,
nuances.
yeah.
And not to
that made
mention,
it
this was
seem
also...
like, wow, this kind of feels real, you
Right.
know.
The
and the
running
radiation?
theme, yeah.
The radiation, surprisingly, is almost like a reference to the Cold War.
Yeah.
Because remember, this is during the our nuclear age.
Right, that's going to be heavy on there.
Exactly. So, and not to mention, the Cold War was at its highest during that time because we had the Vietnam War. We had just gone out of the Korean War at that point. So
that's probably too why it was so popular, because it's really feeding on people's fears.
Exactly, and it wouldn't be surprised, honestly. There's even some zombie movies that actually dealt with the nuclear apocalypse.
Right.
So there was something like that. Like, even games like Fallout showed that a nuclear apocalypse situation could happen like that, and there were people that looked zombified in that game. So there is almost like a little bit of a reference from that movie too.
That's
so it worked out.
That's cool.
So now we're going to go into characters, and yes, for as much as I don't like the asshole guy, he does play him very well.
Yes,
he does play him well. Well, and that's, they represent how every person would handle it. Ben clearly is the rational leader type person. You've got the jackass that's going to argue no matter what, even if he knows that Ben is right. What is his name? Cooper?
I think it's Cooper.
I think, it's the Cooper family.
The Cooper family, yeah.
Because I think it was Henry and it was Hillary, I think.
Yes, Cooper.
Actually, you wouldn't believe it that, the girl, that was actually his daughter.
No way.
Whose daughter?
Oh, that's wild.
Henry's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they actually are father and daughter. They both got a chance to play in the role.
Wow, that's weird.
That is weird.
That would be strange.
Honestly, I think that's also kind of funny because from what I heard in the some people say that she actually was laughing when she was holding onto her dad's fake arm. She was literally laughing, and they had to take it several takes just to get her to do it more serious.
That's funny.
I was like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me! That is hilarious."
I think they did really
Honestly,
well
if I was her age in that movie, I'd be laughing too because I would be like, "This is weird."
You gotta have fun with it, right?
Exactly. They had a lot. They actually really did like George A. Romero, and even in Dawn of the Dead, they loved George A. Romero. He was, especially since he actually was from Pennsylvania when they did the sequel.
Right.
But
I think they did great on the character because Barbara's really she's like your classic shock
damsel in distress.
Yeah. PTSD too, though. She represented that pretty good,
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a couple of friends that unfortunately went through that after they came back from war, so it wasn't necessarily that easy for them.
And she was typical of that era.
She was very typical of the era. She was completely useless.
Yes.
Yeah. She was dead weight, as Mr. Retro.
Because they don't, women weren't. They didn't have responsibilities like they do now.
Right.
And they're not as independent back then. And it was all of the characters were typical of that time period.
Right.
The women's right movement really definitely helped out, though, during the 70s and 80s, where you actually saw them really trying to...
and the younger girl, you can tell, because
she's a little more forward.
Yeah, she's more like
proactive.
a hippie, sort of.
Yeah,
so it was right around the time
she's
when
like,
women were really starting to make their strides independently.
Right.
Yeah.
And the wife, Helen, she made like snide remarks at her husband. Like, remember, there's this discontent that's being actually shown instead of presenting like this false front of everything's perfect and fine in this household. You know what I mean?
Well, I can't imagine I would have let that go right out the window anyway under circumstances.
Right,
like that.
exactly.
I'd be like expressing
but
things it is.
But I feel like Mr. Retro has got a really good point that it was really like because they were right on the cusp of everybody like really finally becoming, women becoming more powerful and politically spoken, and I think that was like just a little hint in the movie.
Yeah, in
like,
1919.
Yes.
A
little peek into the future.
Like, wait for it, mister.
That's the reason why I always said that it's culturally relevant, because they absolutely show the changing times as well as, of course, a lot of the things that were happening at that point.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
So I definitely have to say that it was pretty interesting on that, and I also like the wide range of characters. There are so many different ones that it feels like a group of people rather than just stereotypes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't remember what the boyfriend's name is, but I really like him because he was more
calm.
rational. Yeah.
He was calm.
He was with Ben. He was like, I don't have the best ideas, but I recognize that this man over here does.
Yes.
Actually, he's more of the encouraging, because he actually is someone who tries to keep everyone's spirits up during that time.
Not necessarily the takeover and
get shit
lead,
done, but he will help you.
He's more of the supportive role.
Yes, he's very supportive.
He's gonna back you up, man.
And honestly,
he's like a typical support role.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like that. It means that he understands the situation, and he's willing to follow someone that understands how to get rid of these guys.
That's me. I'm totally a supporting actress.
And
or a supporting person. Because I'm not like necessarily the type that's gonna like
step up and decide.
Personally,
and
I don't know
decisions.
I think it's more. I'm a mix of
I'll
both.
do it if nobody else will.
Yeah. Oh, sure. But I mean, if somebody else is going to do it,
that's a dumb idea. I'm going to be like, dude, that's some dumb shit.
Yeah, but I can say that and still be a supporting person.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just a vocally.
Whereas I feel like Cooper's character was legit. He more represents to me the racial bias that's going on in that time frame. Because he will argue with Ben even though he knows that Ben is right. That he's like, dude, we got to reinforce doesn't matter.
Are you talking about Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If we stay down in the basement, that's great and all, but we do eventually
he's
have
gonna
to get
disagree.
out of the
He's
basement.
going to disagree no matter what because he's a dick.
That's where
Excuse
it's
my language.
But I feel like he represented the climate with, the political climate particularly well because he is such a schmuck. It's not even funny.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So they really did represent everybody really
very well.
Yeah. All right. So, what would you guys rate this out of a score of 1 to 10? I'm sorry, 0 to 10.
10.
10.
10.
I think they did great.
I'm with you on that one. 10
as much
definitely.
as I find Barbara really frustrating,
she
represents.
Yes, she still is a huge part of what the whole package is.
Well, and you know what? If you don't have her character, nobody's afraid enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
True.
It doesn't convey like
because she's totally
just how up the creek we all are.
Yeah, she was like a total panic.
She was.
True enough. Yeah. Honestly, though, as well, for what it's worth, I actually think that I like how they did set it in 1968.
Right.
Because it was the perfect time period for it.
Yeah.
Especially, even if he didn't mean to, it just ended up that way.
Right.
Alright.
I have to say, too, before we move forward with the characters of all the ghoulies, the zombies.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting that they have, what did he call them? He called them remembered behaviors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they all, most of them knew how to use weapons and open the doors, and instead of just being mindless, creatures, they actually had, some skill level, which made them super creepy, compared to just, I'm gonna eat you,
Right.
That is true. And actually, I think the cool thing is that the zombies themselves, that's actually a trait that follows in all the sequels, including the remakes, that some of them do remember something that happened in their past life, and it's a trend that goes with all zombie movies even to this day.
Right, even like Shaun of the Dead, where the stepdad turns the radio off in the car. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. That was. Oh my God, I love that
It was
movie.
like the best. Were the best parts.
We'll
of
have
it.
to do that movie very
Yes.
soon.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But
Love
yeah.
you, Sean.
What a great-
Now it's time for us to get into music, and okay.
It's creepy.
It's
creepy.
actually,
Super
yeah,
creepy.
whoever the composer was, dear God, dude, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Because the music really does set the tone for...
I don't know why I didn't
And
say
it has-
50 at the beginning
I
of the
know.
thing.
And you know what? It has like a vibe towards like the middle, right before I think the two Cooper family buy it. That has like a Hitchcock
Yeah.
sound to
sorry.
it. That's okay. I know you like me. It does. It totally
It does,
does.
it does.
I could tell you like right in the,
Yeah.
it's like in the basement.
Kind of reminds me of like the birds.
The
Yeah,
birds.
yeah.
100%. It's
Yeah.
insane.
I wonder who the
I'm looking it up
Composer?
right now.
composer is. Yeah, we should have looked that up before. Cause
I'm actually
that's
going to look it up
curious.
right now because I
Yeah.
am very curious.
It wouldn't surprise me because it's so similar.
Hold on. Let's see.
Oh, Ozenstring said, what is it?
Why can't I get that feed
About
up?
the infections. Oh, okay. So in The Walking Dead, as far as I recall, because you're on YouTube, darling. I'm on Twitch.
I thought I was on
Do you want to
YouTube.
read?
Yeah,
it
they were
first,
just
right?
checking.
So-
Walking Dead has a good theme song too. Yes, I
Yes,
agree.
it does. No, he was asking about how the dead, how it relates to infections rather than just zombies.
Yeah, the
So it's-
Walking Dead, there's a few episodes, and yes, this is going into spoiler territory. They do talk about the infection. I'm not going to actually go into full detail, but I do know that they actually did do an entire
And
thing with that.
Doesn't Sheriff Rick say that like everybody has it?
Pretty
There's
much everyone
no-
has it.
Which is a total contrast, actually, from Romero's concept of zombies, because he has in the Dawn of the Dead.
Actually,
the first one,
There's
they
a
don't-
reason why he made it subtle, though, that interpretations like that could happen.
right. But
Where
he makes it
what
so they
if,
don't.
like a what if scenario? What if everyone was infected? It's not just the dead people coming back to life or something.
Right. That's super, in my opinion, way more creepy than you have to be bitten. You know.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of a contrast in the remake of Dawn of the Dead. So if you get shot, because a couple characters do get shot and killed, they don't come back unless you're bitten. You'll turn. You won't turn. So it's interesting because like in The Walking Dead, it's like you get it in your mouth, or I think 28 days later and 28 weeks later both represented that the best. Like just a drop of blood in your system, like in your eye or in your mouth, etc., will turn you, right? They represented that really well. But in Romero's stuff, you know, everybody's legit covered in this stuff, but they don't actually turn unless they're straight up bitten. So that's a huge contrast.
How do I get that?
Oh, here it is. I found it.
Until you have to have the app open to catch this part.
Hey guys,
Okay,
So
how do I
whatever
do it?
more. No, I mean now that you're here, this has already happened.
they're
So
basically
the next
she's
chat-
teaching her how to use
Gotcha.
Twitch. If you guys, the composer for Night of the Living Dead was William Luce.
Okay, so we have to figure out who the composer was for the birds.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually gonna take a look at his compositional work. Let's see. He was in World War II, United States Army Air Force Orchestra in New York. Looks like he did Tarzan the Great River, Tarzan Jungle Boy. Let's see, Cherry, Harry, and Rocky, or I can't read this.
Okay.
Raquel,
Strange name.
Black Snake, Super Vixens, Up, Rebel Rousers, the Big Bird Cage,
Did
The
Up?
Wrestler. No, there was a different movie in 1976.
Okay.
Mako and the Jaws of Death, The Man Who Saw Tomorrow, and Mystery Mansion. So no, he
yes,
did not
but
do it.
It was clearly a similar vibe.
It was a very similar vibe. I wrote it
For
down.
sure.
It's just before Ben absurdly shoots Cooper, and thus creates an effing zombie in the house, despite the fact that the radio kept saying the dead rise. Yeah. That's when the little weird sound effect, the Hitchcock vibe, comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically for what it's worth, though, it truly is interesting. The music that they did really well here.
They did. It was really
Definitely.
William Luce, who I'm really glad you definitely did it, and also, dude, rest in peace. He died at age 80, but he did a fantastic job with the Night of the Living Dead soundtrack. I'm really
Definitely.
glad he did it.
Definitely.
So, what would you guys rate this on a scale of 1 to 10?
10.
The music?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a 10. It's super creepy.
Like I said,
10.
I don't know why I didn't just rate it 50.
Okay. Now, design. I gotta be honest, they went all out for a $100,000 budget.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
They did pretty
Everything
damn good.
was really creepy. Everything was really, all the way
Ominous.
all the way up to when, she walks upstairs and she sees the dead
Yeah.
family
Oh, that was so
upstairs
gross.
and
That was really gross.
yeah, no, it was creepy. The whole thing was creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Big creepy vibe.
Yeah, not
And
to
the
mention,
fact that it's... Go ahead.
I like how they actually, when they use those fake corpses, they actually filled them with actual
Organs. That
organs
was disgusting.
from the meat
Yeah.
market.
The viscera level.
Yeah,
was
so they absolutely
high.
went all out in making this thing as
Well,
accurate as
even
possible.
as much so as where the house was located, it was like out in the middle of nowhere.
It's the fact that it's like... think
When I
we
see
talked about
houses
it in
like
the
that, I
first-
think,
Zombies.
Yeah,
We're all
zombies.
gonna die. Don't go
Yeah.
in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
well, it's just out in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
Actually, if you're in a barn and you do reinforce the door, the zombies can't get through. It's been proven by
Right.
MythBusters. Because, and I know we're digressing here, but
Is that
here's-
because there's no windows?
No, the barn door they were using to try to break through, with all their body weight combined, wasn't enough to break down the reinforcements. And they were just using wood planks.
Well, I guess
An
that
old
would be the same
an old
for a
barn
house.
door, easily broken through. And when they only did like maybe one little bar of wood just to block it off, didn't even last. But when they reinforced the door and everything, the thing just held together like it was nobody else's business.
Well, and I think that the fact that a house has windows, even if you
Right.
board them up,
Well, I
they're-
think that the point that we're all making and not actually saying outright is that it's creepy because it's a normal, ordinary
Mhm.
location.
Mhm.
It's
True
just a
enough.
farmhouse,
Mhm.
and all hell breaks loose, and it's really disturbing. So they handled the sets look like a real home that someone lived in. The basement is dark and dank, kind of.
We almost bought a house in Connecticut that had a cemetery on the property.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah. Do you
no.
remember that, Nathaniel?
Did you never
Oh
see
yeah, I
Poltergeist?
remember
Yeah,
that one.
yes.
You've seen enough horror movies.
I
to
felt
know
like we
that's
were
a
gonna
poor
be
decision.
cursed if we kept living in that house.
Yeah.
I actually thought no, we didn't buy it. We had looked at
I
it.
know. It's just I was thinking to myself, good lord, that almost looks like we're gonna get cursed if we live in that house.
I kind of thought it was kind of creepy.
Of
cool.
course you would. Yeah.
Honestly, you would have to
Yeah,
admit though, it would be the best house for Halloween.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
who
no
else has a
kidding.
freaking genuine cemetery
Yeah,
right
you
behind
go
their
out
house?
Yeah, no thank you.
Decorate the tombstones with cobwebs. Oh no, we don't even have to do that. They're already there.
Yep.
You know.
Okay, that's
But,
twisted, but all right.
It's twisted, yes, but come on, it's funny. For what it's worth, though, yeah, it's actually the design of the zombies. I really like how they looked. They still looked human, but you could definitely tell that they're not necessarily in their.
Decomposed a little.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can tell some of
So
that.
and such better makeup
oh,
by
God.
far
Don't talk about it.
than Dawn of the Dead. It's like
We'll talk about that in
incredible.
We'll talk about that.
They
soon, but
actually
yeah.
look like they came from the grave, and in parts were kind of decomposed a little bit, but not
Not to mention it was
ridiculous
on black.
looking.
Not to
you know?
mention it was on black and white film, so it didn't
Yes.
take necessarily too much
Yes,
to make them look like zombies in that
That's
type
true,
of frame.
that's
Where
true.
in color, it would have been a lot harder, especially since the zombie genre was just getting off the ground after that
ooh, and the
success of a
blood
hit.
in Dawn of the Dead. Okay, we won't go there yet.
But
Let's-
yeah, basically it's pretty interesting to say the least, though.
Yeah.
I have to say the effects are done very well. The stunt work was impressive,
Mhm.
and it was all around pretty interesting. I gotta give it a 10 on this one.
Yeah, I gotta give it to 10 too.
So this is design.
Yep.
So
I
told
feel
you
like
it
we
was
should
gonna
also
be
call the TV like a character because it's screaming in the background and constantly throughout the film.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give it a 10. I think.
Yeah. All right, so 10s all around here. And finally, we're on our last one, and it is atmosphere. Okay. When I literally say that this movie created the new zombie genre, the modern zombie genre that we know of today, there's a reason why it has that title, people. So, I think it's already a given. You gotta give it a 10 if it was me anyway. I'm gonna give it a 10 because this set the standard for what zombie movies would go for years later.
Right.
Even The Walking Dead
Yeah.
has a lot to thanks to Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I would say 10.
Even Dawn of the Dead, if you think about that movie in particular,
No.
that one also took a lot of inspiration from the first movie.
Ugh.
Okay,
The
first of
remake,
all,
maybe.
I have some arguments to show that the movie is not horrible.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna give it a 10. I feel like you have to rate it from how it would be perceived at the time because I do find Barbara's, excuse me, her.
No,
hysterics-
that was just him messing with her.
I know.
Annoying.
No, I find her hysterics distracting. I
They
do.
are. They
Unfortunately.
They're distracting. But
Hold on. I have one. Do you remember the woman from King Kong? She screamed constantly.
Okay, well.
At least she didn't scream
okay,
that
don't
much.
talk about Jessica like that, okay?
I do know what you mean, though. It's almost like, it wouldn't have been the same without her hysteria.
Right.
So,
I think, but at the time that the movie came out, I think that probably would not have stuck out to people. Like it wouldn't have. It
Right.
would have been creepy, is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, and not saying it well.
yeah.
Instead of distracting for
Yes,
modern
yes.
women,
Yes, yes.
But I will give it a 10. If I was rating it less like a fan, I would say a 9, just because she can be distracting. But I'm trying to go with how it would be perceived at the time
yeah.
of release.
Right.
So definitely a 10.
And you?
Yep.
All right. Well,
I'm the closest.
this is no freaking brainer. Everyone gave it a 50. Well, that just happened. Another instance of a full sweep of 50. The only other time that it's ever happened was with me and Puganator, where we rated American Tail 50.
Hell yeah!
For as
Go
much as
West.
as I do love Secret of Nim, I have to say the American Tail was such a better film,
I love that.
and not to mention it was a great musical overall.
Hey, yo, Philly!
Oh dear lord. Okay. Still, basically, oh, hold on. Here's a question: if you get bit, how do you get infections? Well,
Through the blood and saliva.
yeah, basically, some zombie movies have a tendency of showing that. Well, and like I said, for the reference to how he started, the origin was more ambiguous.
That's what makes it kind of like a virus, though. See, this is the reason why.
It's almost like radiation poisoning. If you see that during in what happened
Yeah.
on Hiroshima,
But
there were
that's
people
that's
who
the
died
reason
of
why
radiation
it's-
poisoning.
That's the reason why, though, it's so hard for me to disseminate between the two. Between it being a viral thing and it being a nuclear thing. It just
Right.
to
Well,
me.
it's like a radiation issue that caused an infection, I believe is how we're trying to...
Right, but
Like I said, though,
in a
that's the reason
nutshell,
why-
it's an infection, though.
Right.
Yeah,
so-
but here's the thing. That's the reason why George A. Romero made that his own, made it ambiguous, so that if anyone did
alter
do it,
it or
they can
further
alter it in
explain
any way
it.
they see fit.
Right.
That's true.
Which, in my personal opinion, is genius.
Yeah. Well, it ends up but the true fact of any single freaking zombie movie, if you get bitten, it alters who you are.
Yeah, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess who started that?
Romero did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started in Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead started the trend. Even though they did come back in the original movie, yes, that's how it did. It didn't become an actual fact.
I don't remember any of them getting actually
Bitten.
bit.
That's
in
true. They're
Night
just
of the
getting
Living
killed.
Dead.
That's true.
And then they come back to life. Maybe
The only
because
one
they
that ever
died.
did, the only one, surprisingly, who ever did was the asshole. But that was it. He was the only. But no one. Everyone thought that maybe he was somehow still alive when he came back.
Right.
And that's the reason why it was so ambiguous. No one really knew that
That's so
the zombie
funny.
would
I
come
never
back.
Really paid attention to that.
Right.
But yeah, it's right. That nobody was ever really bit initially and turned into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Like
that's the
Dawn of
reason
the
why
Dead,
it was
yeah.
so ambiguous, why so many people love the movie to death.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And-
you know what though? But when Cooper gets shot, he dies from his gunshot, and then he rises up. Right.
Yeah, but some people...
So
But then the wife gets killed with the shovel, and
Yeah.
does she ever rise up?
No, she
She
does
doesn't,
not.
So it's completely...
Exactly. That's the
Yeah,
reason
plot
why...
hole.
No, that's because people think he did survive the gunshot wound. There are theories saying that he survived the gunshot wound, and yes, even though it is hard to believe he might have survived that.
Why didn't the woman come back?
She got stabbed multiple times. You want to know how many times? 12. All over her chest cavity.
Yeah, but we're saying if they both
gut.
died of slightly natural causes, and neither one of them was bitten, how does he come back and she doesn't? That's like a plot hole.
Well, because he's saying that there's.
I think
that he
infection
wasn't
is-
really dead.
However, for me, I think
he was.
that was the theory. Some
I
others
think
say
it
that
was a
he
plot
was
hole.
infected and he did rise from the dead. Like I said, it's actually surprisingly
It's a
debated
gray
topic.
area. I think that's a plot hole.
It is a plot
Honestly.
It is, but however, because of that, he did start that whole the dead rise again afterwards.
Right.
Actually, hang on for a moment. I need to double check something here. Oh, okay. So yeah, he did come back from the dead.
Okay, so...
So he did get infected when his daughter ate his arm.
She bit his arm, that's right, and it's really gross. Remember?
Remember
It was,
when
like,
she was holding out her
fleshy-
arm and eating it? Yeah, that was
fleshy
it.
and Nasty.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, so I don't know why they
I
came
feel
up.
much better now.
Some others say, I don't know why they kept saying that there's a chance that he could have survived the injury, but no, not with an arm, not with you having your arm cut off. Your blood would be all over the place.
Well, it wasn't
So-
cut off. It just.
It was bitten off.
Bit it off, yeah.
Still that did cause the infection, and that's why he rose.
Right.
And yes, another trick for actually, here's a few tips for surviving a zombie apocalypse. Stomping the head into mush works. So if you ever get a chance to pin them down, you stomp on their faces until they are nothing but almost like watermelon juice.
That's gross.
To make sure you get rid of the head as soon as possible.
Too
Yeah.
far.
That's only if you're out of ammo, though.
That's gross.
Or
That's
if you
why
have a
you see
melee
these-
weapon, do that.
That's why you see them in Dawn of the Dead with those big clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Whack!
Exactly. It's just like it's just like they stated in the movie. A head injury, bludgeoning, and a headshot would work,
Or cut off their head.
or cut off their head. Basically, any head injury will take them down in an instant. But yeah, honestly though, this movie definitely set the tone for pretty much all horror movies, mainly the zombie genre, but still.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, now it is time for us to look at Dawn of the Dead, the original.
Okay.
If we must.
I kind of felt like you were mad at us and punishing us, and I think you should just tell us what we did instead of making us watch movies like that.
The hell is wrong with you two?
It was abysmal.
It is not.
Abysmal.
It is not. Okay.
Abysmal.
Oh, trust me. When I have information-wise, you are going to be shocked.
The blood was ridiculous.
I was like,
Okay, that I have to admit
makeup
was.
straight up.
Was
like,
ridiculous.
Okay,
They were.
there is an
blue.
excuse for that. They wanted to see if it actually could work. Unfortunately, the lighting and the camera just did not work with them in the production.
Then they should have done it again. Instead of produce that.
They may have had $1 million budget, but it was still low.
Oh, it was
Look
so
at other
low.
movies at the time. They were getting like $10 to $15 million on average.
That's not my fault that they were crappy.
I really, really hated the opening, like the
Even they were getting a high budget for that
That's
movie.
completely confusing because first we're in a newsroom where we pick up
Oh yeah,
Blonde,
yeah,
whose name I don't recall,
Yeah, yeah.
and Steve, the pilot.
yeah.
So he's a news
And then they
reporter and a
helicopter.
pilot.
Then they
Oh,
helicopter
that's
over
fascinating.
to the.
Oh no, he's not a news reporter. She is. He isn't.
He just came to get her.
He's actually works for the news company.
Yeah, but he's not a.
He's the
reporter.
actual pilot
Oh,
that flies
yeah.
around and has the
news
camera.
reporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they fly.
Helicopter.
Then they fly to the mall.
No. Then they go to. So how do we? Maybe
transition
from that apartment complex where they were just attacking the local.
All right, guys. All right, hang on. Before we get started, what are your original scores?
Like 4.
No, we gotta.
I'm
out of
talking
50?
about out of
50?
50. Screw you.
Okay, 14. 14. Is that better? 14.
I'm gonna beat the ever-loving crap out of you.
It was a terrible
I'll say
movie.
20.
Wow,
I'm gonna beat the
that's
crap out of you
generous.
too now.
That's hella generous there, Puganator.
Yeah, thank
Look
you.
at you being so nice today. What's up?
Yeah.
What's going
Well,
on?
trust me.
I'm
when I
actually
say
gonna give this movie.
I will give the remake a whole lot more. Than
All right,
that.
for me, I'm gonna get. Actually, here's the thing. Without this movie, a remake wouldn't have been made.
Okay, that's fine. But
So
I
you gotta
still
give credit
think
for the
it
movie for at
stinks.
least trying.
Yeah, I did. I gave it 14 points, yo.
I'm giving it 35.
All right.
See, if I were to score the remake, I would score the remake at 45.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with story. Okay, first of all, I actually do like the concepts of the story, where they're literally traveling to a mall, and they're actually it actually shows a little bit more of a different type of social commentary if you see a lot of people walking through the mall, and mainly zombies though, but you notice them, they're walking around doing what they usually do, almost feel like they're drones, that they're stuck in this endless loop of repetition.
Right, he's making a remark about how people...
Not to mention the
Well,
the social commentary was actually
like you said, they're
There's
like
some severe racist remarks in there too.
Oh yeah, the social commentary is
Wild.
full on this movie. He made sure to let people know his thoughts and views on the situation, especially since his family was Cuban and he was also getting discriminated in a way because of the whole Cuban Missile Crisis and everything else like that. So,
What were you saying, Puganator?
I was saying that it's like you said before. They gravitated to what they are used to.
Their remembered behaviors.
Exactly.
That was the
I was
phrase.
trying to
Yeah.
think. Yeah, the remembered behaviors. It's like if they die in the mall shopping, that the remembered behavior would be to wander around
In the mall,
In the mall.
shopping.
Yeah,
Window
exactly.
shopping.
I mean, it might mean that they might end up home eventually, if
Right.
let out of the mall. But
Right.
I don't know.
If
You
ushered
know?
out the door
Still.
of the mall.
yeah, exactly, and I think that's a pretty interesting concept right
it was
there
a really
because
cool concept.
Yeah.
It is cool. That's definitely
Yeah.
a Romero, trope.
Yeah.
I
Remember
actually
behaviors.
do kind of understand why he kind of made it a little bit more comedical, considering that the original movie was so damn realistic that
Right.
yes, children were watching this movie back in 1968.
That's true. I was
That's
watching
true.
it at 6.
So
Well, in
yeah,
the 70s,
I think it was
you
just
know.
in case that those kids just happened to be there.
Right. And there's
but it
like
was
a
still
whole,
graphic, though.
It was,
It's
yes.
still graphic.
I mean,
He still
so
wants-
what's the difference between it being
I
scary
think
versus?
I think it was
I
just
think
to
that-
lighten the mood,
I think
especially
that movie's
considering.
pretty on point with the 70s,
Yes,
it's
ridiculousness.
Pretty, yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. It's
Yeah.
Not to mention,
It's
it is
crazy.
trying to lighten the mood after all the seriousness of not only the original, but also how it starts out. Especially since some of the characters actually get pretty traumatized from what they had to do. Like, Ken Foray plays the main character in this one, and he actually remember that scene where
he
he
the
was shooting.
cop?
Yeah,
Or
he was
the
the
black
SWAT.
guy?
He was the
Yeah.
SWAT guy.
Okay,
yeah,
I
remember.
like him.
Remember he was shooting those two kids? He absolutely hated that.
I can
He even
imagine.
told George A. Romero he will never do that scene again if he makes him do it again.
That makes sense.
That's how much he hated it.
Yeah, I
It was
can
pretty
understand.
brutal. It was
Yeah.
a shocking scene.
Yeah.
And honestly, I completely agree with him. If I was doing that scene, I'd be like, nope, I'm only doing this once. I'm not doing it again.
You know what though? If are we scoring story first?
We're
Is that what you
scoring
said?
story, yeah. But honestly, for what it is worth, though, the story is actually very much them surviving. But you could definitely tell how he thinks of the world at large at the time frame it was in. So, because we were just coming out of the Vietnam War at the time, so
Right.
it was definitely
There's a lot of PTSD going on.
Yeah.
With
That's
that
very
one
true.
guy, with the white guy, that was his kind of his
Sidekick.
sidekick.
Yeah.
Yeah, major PTSD.
That's
there.
true.
Yeah,
That's true.
and you know what? That was typical in that era. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know?
especially with everything that's been happening. It definitely fit the time period for what it was worth.
Right.
And George A. Romero's always been good for that. So, honestly, for me, I would have to rate the story I'm not going to give it a full-on 10, but I am going to give it a 8 because it actually is really good. I think there's a couple of comedic moments that don't work, and there are a couple of scenes they could have gotten rid of, but other than that, though, the rest of the movie was pretty damn decent.
I thought the bank robbery scene was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I'd give it a 6.
I mean, yeah, 6. I feel like there's some stuff they really should have fleshed out.
Yeah.
I feel like well, I mean, I'm trying to be really rational about it and look at it from the same perspective that I looked at the first movie.
At the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The time period.
Right.
Right.
And not to mention...
I think I keep getting distracted by the poor acting.
Okay, first
That'll
of all...
come.
I know.
That'll
Okay.
come. You can rate that in a little bit.
I'm trying to just trying to focus on the story. Like,
Yeah.
Alright, speaking of characters, I'm actually going to argue with that.
7. I'll give it a 7.
Because here's the thing.
Which
The
one?
story.
The story.
Because, you know, the biker gang, most of them were the crew.
Cool.
So, most of them didn't even have that much acting experience.
Well, and it shows.
Even Tarantino.
Clear.
But hell, they still made it work.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you gotta give some credit
I'm
there.
giving them a 7
Yeah.
for story.
I'm giving him a
7
6.
for
Okay, so
story.
you're
And
changing
now we're
yours
on
to 7.
Character, right?
I'll give
And
it a
we're
6.
on characters.
I don't like how completely... I mean, they don't give a huge development for... In the first movie, you don't get a lot of character development. You just are like...
This
here's
one
the
you
character.
definitely
In
do.
the first movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, no, not necessarily
Yes, you do.
in the second one.
No, this is the second one, Dawn of the Dead.
Yes, I know.
But here's the thing. I actually do think there is a lot more character development in this one. Look at what the main characters go through in every single instance. How each of them have different reactions to the situation. His partner is kind of losing his mind because he's getting almost too stuck in the moment. Then, of course, we have the asshole boyfriend who's just... He thinks he has to do everything himself. But at the same time, it's mainly because he's trying to protect himself from whatever is going on out there. You see the female lead. She is very independent. She's willing to take care of herself and is always willing to back up the team. Then, of course, we have the main character who actually gets along with the female character and everything else.
Yeah.
And he actually is traumatized for not only killing all these people that were once regular human beings, but children as well.
Right.
If you see from that perspective, there's a lot more character development in this movie than the original. But however, the original had characters that fit well, where these ones, it took time.
They were better actors.
It took time. They took time.
It took
to
time.
Get to the character development. in the
Exactly,
second
and it
Whereas
works.
the
Night of the Living Dead.
it was I liked him from the get go.
Exactly, and sometimes characters like these, it's not easy, and that's the reason why I'm willing to give them more credit for this film than in
I don't
others.
know. I still think that the
I just
characters
find
were not. They're
not endearing.
No.
That's what I'm gonna say.
The black guy was.
Yeah, Peter.
He was,
Ken Foray,
he
yeah.
was,
Peter is endearing.
Yes,
I
he's
do
endearing.
like Peter.
And actually, the girl's even kind
She's
of
not bad.
endearing.
She's actually a badass. She saves him on
Yeah.
several occasions
Yes,
along
she
with the
does.
rest of the crew.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
And hell, she was pregnant at the time, damn it. You gotta give some credit.
And
That's a
barfing in the
badass,
toilet.
that's
Right.
basically badass mom material.
It
Yeah.
was, yes.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I actually do like the partner of Peter. He actually does really good at being almost like someone who fully accepts who he is, and he's always willing to have his back.
Right.
And
That's
those two work off
true,
each other
but
really well.
He's a crackerjack, though.
Yeah,
He
but
lost it.
only
He
it was
definitely
only
lost it.
near the end. And here's the
Right.
thing. In the end, before he dies and becomes a zombie, he fully asks him to please put him out of his misery.
Right.
So he fully trusts him to
It's
do
the
what
reason. The reason he ended up getting bit by a zombie is because he was a crackerjack.
Yeah, and he
Because he started losing it
Yeah.
way before he
Yeah.
actually got bit.
Right.
exactly. So
That's caused him to get bit.
and he knew that. So when he asked his friend to put him out of his misery before he starts
just didn't
infecting
want to turn
others,
into a zombie.
exactly, he just didn't want to infect anyone. He still
Right.
had a good amount of
Well, he didn't
humanity
wanna
still left in
roam
him.
The
No,
ball.
I wouldn't want
As
to
a
turn
vet.
into one either.
So I'll give the characters 8, but I still have to say that the acting is really important.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yeah,
abysmal.
some of the
that
acting, unfortunately,
it's
yes.
distracting beyond comprehension.
Yes.
Some of the side characters, unfortunately, I wish they could have done well, but actually, surprisingly enough, most of them were locals of the area.
Well, I'm glad that they got to partake in it, but
Oh, they were a big fan. They
was
respected they
Yes.
respected and loved the hell out of George Romero. So
it was dreadful.
So when they get but basically for what it's worth though, guys, if for side characters, not necessarily that good, but when it comes to the main characters, you gotta give credit to what they did. They at least did something with them.
Right.
That's more than I can say for most people at the time, and even for the biker raiders, those guys. If you think about it, crime was at an all-time high during the 70s.
I have to say, I find it interesting that it's a common trope that survivors end up fighting other survivors just as horribly and, hatefully as the whatever fill-in-the-blank monster
Well, it's just like
attacks the people
it's just
in the
like
first place.
The Walking Dead and Z
Right.
Nation.
It's a common thread
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, where do you think
in
it came from?
apocalyptical movies.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm giving it credit.
Dawn
credit.
Dawn of the Dead definitely set a lot of the standards for how zombie shows actually would go for.
Right, and both this movie and the first movie ask that eternal question of do we hunker down or do we flee?
Or
and
in this case,
basically,
it questions our morality.
Right.
Because what's right and what isn't.
Well,
Right.
even in the first one, you see the same thing. It's just slightly different.
Right.
More on the
Because-
cultural perspective. This one's
no,
just
I'm
morality
talking about,
perspective.
Like all the
fight or
people,
flight, yeah.
all the people coming and shooting all the zombies and
Right.
and so on. So no matter what, it's like there's always going to be somebody fighting against somebody.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
sad
You
that,
know.
I can't think of too many, maybe two, where the survivors come together and actually just come together. They don't
Right,
fight
right.
amongst each other. They don't
Right.
kill each other off for resources.
Right.
I can't think of any, actually.
Even like what was that show, The 100? Even
they
that
fight
has
against each other.
Even
They
that
turn
has
on
the
each
same
other.
thing. Yeah.
So I give Romero credit. That's a 100% common theme between
Yes.
apocalyptical movies.
Yes.
That it's over. Once the apocalyptical event happens,
Everybody
you're on
splits
your own.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
You're
like
lucky if you get a buddy, but
Yeah.
that buddy may stab you in the back.
right.
So
Exactly.
I give him credit for that. It definitely shows that.
Yeah.
That's
And I think it's
unfortunately
sad.
reality.
It's so sad.
It's reality, though.
It is.
It's
It's
unfortunate.
realistic.
I mean, look at how things
So
are
depressing.
in schools for
Look
kids.
at the toilet paper crisis that COVID began, huh?
Yes,
we can't
Mish.
just share and share alike here.
Yeah.
Come on.
So what would you rate it then?
Which
Puganator?
one are we?
We're on
First one?
characters.
Is that the first one?
No, we already did story.
Oh yeah, characters.
After hearing all of this,
I'm still sticking with 8 because
I'll say 7.
the acting is
7?
important. You have to convey.
I'm actually going to give it a 9. Because the
Alright.
only real major flaw was some of the side characters. Because I think they should have given a little bit more development, or, I don't know, give them a little bit fewer funny lines here and there.
Well,
Why did one of the bikers stop to get his blood pressure checked?
Okay, now
that was so
and he was
ridiculous.
Oh, actually,
offensively-
you don't
he
believe that was George A.
offensively
Romero
wearing
being
a
funny.
Sombrero on top of it. I'm like, what are you doing?
That was
Yeah.
George A.
It's
Romero
the
being
apocalypse.
funny.
Get it together.
Actually, did you know that? You know the first 2 people that you see that were on the console and everything in the new studio? That was him and his wife.
Oh, on the TV?
No, when they were
Oh,
at
on
the
the
beginning of the movie,
newsroom,
in the newsroom, where you see
Oh.
see the couple working on the computers.
Yeah, I did not know.
Yeah, that was George A. Romero and his
that's
and his
wild.
soon-to-be wife.
Now I'm
Oh,
gonna
how
have to.
adorable.
I'm gonna have to watch the beginning again.
I have to give
'cause-
credit too because he keeps that theme where he has in the background the TV where it's just the news report is like, here is
Yeah.
all the information
Yeah,
you need.
again. Yeah.
Here's
However-
the origin.
Oh yeah,
Here's the
here's
cause,
the thing
here's
though.
how to
You
fight
notice
it.
that they actually listened this time.
They did a little better. I thought it was hilarious how the one guy is like, everyone just needs to be rational. Everyone needs to be rational. And he's the one who was yelling, dummies, dummies, dummies.
I know.
You know?
Oh, okay.
That was hilarious. That was one of the best parts of the movie.
All right.
I was like, seriously.
Now that we're done with that, I finally get to reveal the information about what was supposed to be the true ending to the film. Ken Foray's character was supposed to die. He was supposed to shoot himself.
Which character is that?
Peter.
Peter.
Supposed to shoot himself, and she kills herself by the helicopter blades.
Wow.
That was the original ending George
Well,
A.
I'm
Romero
glad.
clearly was going to go for.
I'm glad he didn't, though.
The actors told him no.
Yeah, that's messed up, yo.
They
I
said
like it
even
when-
that was pushing it too far.
I like it when
Really-
there's. I like it when there's somebody that survives. I mean,
Slight
it was
happy
so
ending.
sad the
It was
first
like-
movie.
Actually,
Yeah, it
I
was
think
very
that I
sad.
think
Oh
it could have
my
worked
gosh.
either. Hold on, I think
It
this could have worked
could've.
either way because that's the tragedy.
Well,
It
it's a
is,
horror
but-
movie.
And
It's
think about
supposed
it.
to
Look
be
at the Night of the
depressing.
Living Dead. That succeeded with that type of ending.
Oh
I
yeah,
know,
it
I know.
succeeded.
But
That
I was
just
super sad, though.
Just
So
horrific.
yeah, but
Yes.
basically,
Horrific ending.
yeah, but basically though they did right in the ending after he changed it to allow those two characters to
Good.
live.
I mean, the last few lines are just the dumbest
Yeah,
I've ever
yeah,
heard.
yeah.
Do we have any fuel? And she's like, a little. He's like, all right. Okay. That was it? That was the end? That was
And
the
not to
end?
mention, they
Yeah.
left the
Okay.
whole ending ambiguous.
Yeah.
So we don't really know if they survived or
If
not.
they ever
so
made it anywhere, if
Does
they
she-
crashed.
Does she really fly?
So
well,
honestly,
or,
again,
yeah.
How
that's
did
an-
she learn how to fly a helicopter
Steve
in
taught her
like
in
one
that
day?
montage.
No,
Yeah,
actually,
the montage when he went to the bathroom.
according to
It was like
according
a
to George
minute.
A. Romero, those two have been working for years at the new studio. So there's a good chance he could have taught her.
No, because it showed him right there.
Yeah,
Because
plot
she
hole.
even said, she
Plot
even
hole.
said, well, you're going to have to teach me how to fly the helicopter because if
And they
something
do.
happens to you, blah, blah, blah. Well,
And they did.
They did, but I mean, it only showed them really practicing, like,
For a minute.
briefly.
When you went to the bathroom.
Exactly. And
The
it's like,
montage.
there's no way. A helicopter, that's a huge.
It's a
Bird.
It's quite a vehicle. It's quite a vehicle.
Yes.
I'm guessing there's a lot of buttons.
Yes,
You know.
yes, to learn.
Little bit of
Exactly.
skill
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, hell, at least she's adaptable though.
That's true.
True,
I
thank
appreciate.
goodness.
She
Why do you think I
started
call her the first badass
You
mom?
know what? She started out like just like Barbara, completely useless and hysterical, and then she does develop into. She
Yeah.
straight up that line at Steve where she's like, "Because what if something happens to you? Like
Right.
you buy it, I don't want to be stuck here, pal.
Yeah, right,
Teach me
right.
how to fly this crap."
She
So
had
that
more
was
balls
cool.
than Barbara.
and not
did.
to, and not to
Yeah.
She had
mention,
more balls
remember
than
when?
Steve. Come
Oh,
on.
also, did you know that Peter, instead of giving the rifle to I don't know her boyfriend, he gave it to her
Yeah.
that was
because
cool.
he's like, I
I
trust
love-
you with this gun more
I
than this
know.
idiot.
You
I
got
love
my
Peter.
back. You got my back, bitch.
Right? I love Peter. I love.
And not
Yes,
to
me
mention,
too.
I like the banter between those two because
Yeah, they're good.
you can tell he respects the hell out
Yeah,
of her
he
because
does,
yeah.
he sees someone who's strong enough to handle herself
Right.
And
if given a
Steve.
chance. And
He
yes,
does.
and him.
Yes.
So
That was
yeah, either
hilarious.
way, it's actually kind of interesting. Also, me and my friends used to make a joke. Good lord, that is we already know who's wearing the pants in the family.
Very true. Very true.
Oh lord, but
She had really great hair for the era.
Yeah.
not to
We will
mention
say.
you. And I remember actually one time when her boyfriend does give up his rifle to her. She's like, yeah, I can handle myself, sweetie. Don't worry.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
basically the look she gave him. She basically says, I can take care of myself, sweetie. Even though I'm pregnant, I can still take care of myself. So
Yeah.
back off and let me do my thing.
Yeah,
I can handle it. So
She
I don't
is.
need to hold my hand.
She's one of those few strong female characters I'm glad ended up in horror movies
know
because,
what?
good lord.
And I like that she waited for Peter, even though he was like, no,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'm gonna let myself die. Because
Yeah.
what?
Well, I
Okay,
actually,
after
I thought,
all this,
I thought she
That
took
pissed me
off.
off.
Yes, I
I
thought
did
she
too.
took off, and then
he
I
pissed
was
me
like,
off doing that, but I
Yes.
suppose that's character development,
Yes.
whatever.
He was willing to self-sacrifice himself, but when he saw an opening,
That
he
was
would.
such a stupid
That
sacrifice.
was dumb.
Because he
That
could have
was dumb.
easily
They
gotten
could have just
out
left.
of there.
They could have been gone,
Yeah.
flown away
Yeah.
before any of
Hold
the
on,
zombies
hold on.
reached the
But
room.
remember, this was changing the original ending.
Okay.
That was the original. All right. But yeah, this was the original ending to the movie. He was supposed to
I know.
kill
See,
himself.
now that you've said that, that makes more sense.
Exactly.
And I
That's the
appreciate-
reason why.
I appreciate fully that he listened to the actors because they were right.
Honestly, for what
It's
it was.
it's still ambiguous. The ending, it's quite ominous. You have no idea where the hell are they gonna go anyway. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
At this
So-
particular point, the zombie apocalypse was hitting pretty hard,
Right.
especially after the first movie. So
Yeah.
you really don't know where they're going to end up, where they're going to show up. It really was a scary thought, wondering what's going to happen to them? Where are they going to go? Where are they going to stay?
That's sort of the ultimate ending in all zombie movies. It's like, what the hell next? You know, where are we going? What are we going to do?
True.
You know?
And that's the reason why I think I love zombie movies so much, and why I'm willing to give Dawn of the Dead so much credit, because it did set a lot of the trends that zombie movies and shows would do.
That's true.
Leaving
You're
almost
very
on a cliffhanger, wondering whatever happened to them, or leaving it in a mystery.
Right.
You don't really know what's going to happen to them.
It's sort of
You lead to your own
to give a happy resolution in an apocalyptical movie.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that's not realistic, having a happy ending.
It's not.
It's more realistic seeing either tragedy or don't even know what's going to happen next. It's all up to your imagination.
Right.
There's actually some people I know that actually created fan fictions of the story of what happened to those two after they left in that helicopter.
Oh, that's hot. That's awesome.
Okay,
That's cool.
First of all, my friends who do it are not sleazebags until pervs.
No.
But they are very good at writing.
What a disappointment.
Oh no, they actually made some really good stories of how they found some survivors as well, started a small community,
That's cool.
eventually turned the town they were into a fort.
Well, that would
That
really
way,
be the only way to
and are
survive,
welcoming
is
any
to-
survivors to come in and join them.
But then you get like that can only last for so long, because eventually another group of people will come along that
Exactly.
want to own that.
Exactly, and that
share it.
You're not going to believe this. One of my buddies who's doing that story right now, he's already on a 7th book.
Wow, that's cool.
He is writing all these books, and he is trying to make every chapter so damn interesting. I think right now the chapter he's on is recording how the survivors are now in a civil war in a way with another faction.
That's wild.
It's pretty interesting. I don't really remember what he called his story, but if I find it, I'll let you guys know. But damn,
Factions. That reminds me of what's that game? What's that movie? Factions. Divergent series.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Very good.
Anyway.
All right, now we're going on to music. And I gotta admit, the music was pretty good actually.
No.
It's real jivey fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Compared
guess
to
for the times,
yes,
maybe.
it
But
was
again,
decent.
I have
It's
to
not as close. It's not even gonna be coming close to William
4.
Luce's.
I give it a 4.
I'm willing to give it a 5. It's average for me. It's average music for me. That's a 5.
It's pretty bad, I thought.
What about you?
Oh, I wrote, what the hell is this music in the effing ammo store? Animal sounds too.
Oh yeah.
Legit offensive. F steak. Yeah. I 4.
All right, so you get a 4
4.
too.
Pretty bad.
All right.
Pretty bad.
All right, that was a quick one, but that's only because that even I will. There's only so much I can tolerate.
Yes, the ammo store was
It's like,
really.
oh,
That was
what
like a
the hell?
tipper.
It was like throughout the movie, it's like a cheery 70s circus
Right.
motif.
Yes. Yeah.
Like a circus motif.
All
it
right.
wasn't at all scary
What is that?
whatsoever.
It's like,
I'm still gonna give it average.
I'm deeply confounded.
Yes.
I don't know what's
All
happening.
right.
Yes.
Now let's go
4.
on. Now we're gonna skip on to design because we already know that's just gonna keep going on forever. But yeah, let's go to design. Honestly, I do understand why they did have some problems at the time when they were making the makeup and everything, especially since a lot of them just came off of the black and white film Night of the Living Dead. So it wasn't necessarily
4.
that.
Because the makeup, no matter what, they should have somehow redone it. Because the makeup was just atrocious.
Are you judging it just on the makeup and the
No.
effects alone?
No, the blood, the makeup, the guts, just
The
in
viscera
general.
was pretty good.
The what?
viscera.
The viscera.
The viscera was good.
Those were actual.
Good.
Those were organs. Those were actual organs they ate.
It was
Okay.
organs. It was disgusting.
It was gross.
That was the only.
But the
gore
blood
that
was ridiculous.
The blood was over the
it
top.
looked like paint.
It did look like paint, and I actually got distracted.
You want
Yes.
to?
Thinking, my God,
That
how
looks
much
like-
paint thinner would
Yeah.
it take to get that off?
Exactly.
You ruined those pants for
Yes.
sure.
And
You know?
their
Lord.
zombies were like blue colored.
They were
Okay.
blue. The Hare
Okay.
Krishna?
You guys.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Wow.
Oh.
Okay. First of all, you guys are seriously stuck on the effects. Did you ever
We're
think to?
talking about it.
Did you ever think of looking at the actual places they went to?
Well, the mall is a really
The mall
impressive
they Georgie
prop
Romero was a friend
set.
of the dude who owned the mall.
Oh, that's
So he
cool.
got a chance to actually use the mall for his scenery, even though he also destroyed some of it.
Well, I actually thought the mall was way cooler in the remake.
You actually, you know that scene where the bikers just got in?
I
Before
like
that,
the,
they accidentally kind of destroyed some of the mall.
See, and I don't like that part of it. That was like the worst part of the movie.
What?
Was when that biker crew came in.
It was
and
it
just
was dorky.
it was stupid.
It was goofy.
Oh, let's just go in and completely bash and crash and damage everything. What was the point there?
I don't know.
There was absolutely negative zero point to that. There really was.
Do you understand why Negan does what he does in Walking Dead?
Well, I don't. Either way, I'm just telling you how I feel.
What about Z Nation?
I think.
What about all the other horror zombie movies and infection movies where people are literally doing shit just because they want to?
Well, I mean, you can go. I mean, I understand.
That is people's mindsets.
A little bit of looting.
She's not saying that the looting is irrational. She's saying really the acting was abysmal.
Yes, the acting throughout the looting was just aimless and
Dorky.
ridiculous.
It was dorky.
Yeah, it really
and not
was.
in an adorable, endearing kind of way.
It wasn't
But in
even
an irritating way.
Yes.
Like,
it
why
was,
am I being
really
forced
bad.
to watch this?
It was
I have
bad.
to say, though, that for design, I'm going to let go of the whole look of the zombies, because
Thank you.
That's a negative.
Yes.
That's a, like, negative 10.
And the blood.
But the sets, the location, the wardrobe was, very on point. The whole, I feel like the mall was almost its own character.
Exactly.
So I think they did that well.
Yeah, not to mention the scene, like the gun shop, was actually done at a location in Pennsylvania, a gun shop.
And I really like the green, the live plant
The foliage.
section, the foliage
where
section.
they bury that guy.
Not Steve or Peter.
Yeah,
White other guy. What's his name?
Ouch.
John?
I don't remember.
Mike.
But
The
basically,
Michael!
The one that was
His name
crazy.
is Michael, yeah.
PTSD man.
PTSD man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically,
Michael.
also I do like how they use the mall itself to create distractions for the zombies, because remember,
That's true.
they basically use their hearing mainly to find out where everyone else is at, and I like how they use the mall to their advantage to create the different noises that would distract the zombies so they can go into other sections of the mall.
Right.
So in a way, it shows that they are using the mall itself in a way very smart compared to other characters.
In a productive way.
In a
Yeah.
productive way, exactly. So honestly, for what they did, I'm really glad they did choose to go with the mall.
And it is a trope.
Well, yeah.
It's a trope. I could name like 5 different zombie movies or books where the characters
Yeah.
flock to the mall,
Yeah.
yo.
Oh,
I think that the mall idea is it was reasonable.
Yeah.
Totally.
yeah. Oh, here's one. All right. I did forget to mention this too. Those 2 kids that were shot by Peter. Those are Tarantino's niece and nephew.
Quentin Tarantino? No way.
No. It was yeah. He's the guy who. Hold on. I swear to God, I forgot his
I'm
name. I think
sorry.
was it Tarantino or was it something else? Give me a second. I'm trying to remember the guy's name.
I liked the moment between blonde girl. What's her name? Jesus. Anyway, blonde.
Blondie.
And the baseball.
Oh, sorry, Tom
Wearing-
Savini.
Okay.
Tom Savini, he actually, his niece and nephew were the 2 kids that.
Who's Tom Savini?
Tom Savini's an American makeup artist. He's done.
Oh, okay.
He's the dude who's done Night of the Living Dead, the original. He also did the remake as well. Yeah, he actually directed the remake, the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh wow.
Oh
He
my
also
God, that's
did-
the one we like. Right?
He also did
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2,
Night of
The
the
Prowler,
Living Dead.
The Burning, Maniac, Friday the 13th Parts 1 and 4. He also did Creepshow, Monkey Shines, Dawn of the Dead,
Ooh,
Day of the
Creepshow.
Dead, Martin. So yeah, he's done a whole bunch.
Okay.
He also done From Dusk Till Dawn, Night Riders.
That's cool. Master Chief likes the where they hid out in Shaun of the Dead in
Oh,
the
hell
bar.
yeah. Oh, yeah, the bar.
Yes.
The Winchester.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
I'd have picked a bar over a mall any day.
But Tom Savini's niece and nephew were the 2 kids that Peter.
That's
crazy.
cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were the 2 kids that Peter's character shot.
Yeah, but if you'll notice, the gunshot noise, like sound effects, don't match the actual.
Honestly, I think it's because they had to use, again, a fake blank gun and blank bullets and all that.
That was terrible.
Which, again, like I said, Ken Foray hated doing that scene, and I completely understand from his perspective.
Right, that would be hard to...
But, yeah, getting back to the design, though...
Makes it, like...
Yeah, it makes it pretty tragic.
I like the scene between, I was starting to say it, between the blonde and one of the zombies through the glass. The guy in the baseball outfit.
Oh, when he was on the floor.
Yeah, and he just sort of
kinda
sits
creepy.
down. It was, and she just sat there looking really sad for him. I thought that was one of the better poignant, despite his blue face, moments in the film.
Yeah.
So
honestly, though,
redeeming moment.
It was kind of
sad.
sad.
All right, so for overall design, this is including the zombie makeup and all that, the effects, as well as, of course, the scenes, like the actual places they were going to.
I'll give it a 5.
5?
Which is better than what I would have normally given it.
I'll give it a 5 because the mall is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The mall's cool.
I'm willing to give it a 6, mainly because that the mall itself and how they used it in the film was actually really smart. Bless you. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Let those sneezes out, trust me. Because you do not want to hold them back because it hurts.
Yeah.
Alright, now for atmosphere. Okay, from the start of the movie, you could definitely tell it was setting a tone. Then, right around the time when the biker gang shows up around that area, as well as, of course, that was when it got a little too goofy. But before that, when they were trying to lighten the mood a little bit, you could definitely tell they were trying to adjust to life in the mall. Which is, again, if you were stuck in the mall, wouldn't you try to make the best of it?
Right.
I'd be shopping.
And then, of course...
There was a shopping montage.
You guys,
that was hilarious.
you guys know that they don't have to buy anything. They just, and hell, they took money from the register.
Right. That was
the
funny.
bank scene was
that
funny.
That was
Because you
hilarious.
never know.
Right.
And honestly, though, right at the end, it really did get back on its feet, back on track. So, other than maybe one particular part of the film where it was definitely way off from what it was originally done, the rest of it was actually done pretty decently.
That's another thing I like about the remake is the fact is bringing that other guy character in the building across from them.
Right.
I mean, I think that I think it
that was actually
the bikers sort of,
Mm-hmm.
but it not in a good way because they were actually working together.
Right.
Versus the bikers were just like...
I think the premise of the bikers is brilliant. It's a trope, definitely, he set because it's a common...
And not to mention, there are people that are going to lose their...
resources.
Yes,
not to mention, there are going to be people that are going to lose their minds over this. They're going to be in total denial.
Totally insane. Right. Yeah. It was really... I think they lost the plot with the tone there 150%.
But other than that, though, the rest of the film at least tried to stick to a tone, and when it did, it did pretty
achieve
good.
it. When the three of them, the survivors,
4 of them.
our group.
Remember, there was 4.
4.
Oh,
her
yeah.
boyfriend,
the couple,
I think it was
Peter and his partner.
Died, though. Or no, Peter I think was sick. No, not Peter. Michael, the other.
Nope. All 4 of them were pretty decent around the time, and
No, I'm talking about the scene where they're in the restaurant and it's just Peter made dinner for Steve and the blonde.
Yes.
I believe Michael is sick or had
in
he
the other
passed
room.
away?
No, I think he
was still
sick.
Yeah, it took him a really long time to turn after getting bitten.
Yeah,
that was
but again, it almost looked like it definitely. That's where a lot of people believe it was
virus.
Like a virus.
That stands true because that makes sense. That it took a really long time for him to turn.
Yeah, even The Walking Dead makes a lot of references to that because again, once you get bitten, it does take time for you to turn.
Right.
Z Nation though, and World War Z, it was like almost
instant. Yeah.
Even the Korean
World War Z
there's even there's actually a couple of Korean zombie movies where the infection almost happens instantaneously.
Well, World War Z, it's pretty. It's like within like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then but no, Z Nation and The Walking Dead, it takes a while. It could take a couple,
So you could definitely tell that they took reference from this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes down to it, though, the atmosphere, like I said, other than that one part, everything else was actually done and set the tone right.
Well, I feel like there are several moments where they lose their tone, and maybe it's just the attitude or the mindset of the time, like more lighthearted, jovial sort of moments that I found kind of distracting.
Yes,
But
I agree.
I will give it a 5 because they do really nail it in the certain
Yeah, I say 5
scenes,
too.
in certain sections.
I'm actually going to give it a 7 because I actually do think that some of the tones are necessary.
But it's distracting,
Especially
that
since-
it's not cohesive. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Well, here's
cohesive
the-
is a good word.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Remember, months pass in the movie. Remember?
No, but I mean, in the film, it's not cohesive. Like, you're like, everything is set in this tone, and they nailed it with this really dark, ominous, upsetting tone.
Yeah.
But then you have this Dorcas, lame-ass moment that completely distracts you and reminds you that you are watching a film, you know?
Yeah, but here's the
Instead of,
thing.
like,
Remember how they're
being
all trying to
pulled
adjust
in,
to life in
you
the
know?
mall?
Yeah.
That, in the way, I think is also done well because think about it. If they're at
No,
least
they did
trying
that great. That's
Yeah.
one of the best moments.
Yeah.
That's one of the most disturbing sections of the film is showing them so basically distraught about their situation. Like, what the
This
hell is
is-
the point of this?
yeah.
Do we just keep going like this?
Yeah.
That was really an excellent tone. That's the 5 I'm giving it right there because
Everything else.
everything else doesn't match up to that. If it cohesively through the entire 2 hours and, what is that, 207 minutes, I believe your husband said?
Yeah.
If it stayed there together.
Oh, yeah.
cohesively,
Master Chief
it would
2011
be-
and Puganator 2020 have been married for over 25 years.
29 years.
29 years to this day. So that's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Hell, I wish I had a marriage that would last that long.
You may.
Maybe. Hey, I've never dated, I've never married, so one day I will, but I think right now my job and you guys come first.
Oh.
Alright, so
Such a long.
all right, so here we go. I'm tallying up the numbers now. Your original score was 20. I'm looking at right now.
Oh, do you remember the pies in the face with the bikers?
That was so
See, that's her point that she was trying to
Actually,
make. of the
that was
lame.
George A. Romero.
That's just absurd.
He wanted some comedy in the film. That's what he did.
Well,
That's
that's
a waste of resources and
It is.
impractical in a zombie apocalypse.
Yes,
That's all
it
I'm
is.
saying.
yes.
That's all I'm saying.
It was just ridiculousness that could have been left out.
And who was that guy running with the mannequin? Why? Why?
Yeah, you're gonna pick a mannequin over clothing.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know what to say.
What?
Okay. All right. It's actually kind of funny, but here we go. Your original, your original score was 20. Your new score, 27.
Wow, I'm surprised I. Well,
Wow,
I
you
did.
really you liked it, huh?
No, I did not like it.
Well,
but
apparently you did.
a little bit more than. Well, after
Remember,
discussion.
25 was an average. Like you're saying, it's okay. If you get around to near 29, 30, you're saying it's a decent film.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, not compared to
I
your
was
score.
being-
It's better than
I
okay.
was being really nice.
Bull crap! You were
Okay.
actually making some good arguments there.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Des,
Yeah.
I'm going to say your
Billie
score
Petal.
was originally 14.
Yes.
Your newest score? 29.
Oh my God.
You have to explain it to a woman.
You got some splaining to do.
You just jumped from a 15-point gap.
All right. Well, you had good points.
She
Yes.
had 7.
Okay, you had good points.
All right.
That's all. I'm
My
saying.
original score was 35. My actual score? 35.
Oh, that's.
I somehow matched it.
How did you
That's
do
crazy.
that?
I don't know how. I don't
Yes.
know why.
No,
He
that's
really-
cohesive.
Yeah. I think he did a lot of work ahead of time evaluating his
He did.
thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the
And
reason
I'm
why.
so distracted by the lameness
Yes.
of this.
Yes, I agree.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes,
maybe
I'm
you should
sorry.
take a page from my book.
I tried.
We
Yeah,
did.
well,
hey,
you didn't do that well. If that's a
we-
much of a giant, blah.
we
Sorry,
did
giant
rate
score
it,
jump that you guys had.
We did rate it better than anticipated, so you should be thankful for that.
Right. See.
I hope I at least convince you that the movie isn't all bad. Maybe not as bad as
Oh,
freaking
Master
Day of the
Chief
Dead.
said 2 hours and 7 minutes. Yes, 2 hours.
You know what I wrote? The last thing I wrote. I mean, this could have all been avoided, Peter. FFS. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean, yeah.
All
Why
right,
didn't he just go with her?
now we're gonna do Retro Evolution.
Wait, Dawn of the Dead. The remake.
Yeah, can we just briefly go over Dawn of the Dead remake?
Actually, one of the questions was about Dawn of the Dead, so we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
All right, so with
okay.
with Retro Evolution, since we all three of us gave a perfect score for Night of the Living Dead, that's not changing.
Okay.
So, if we were to give it a chance to direct Dawn of the Dead, what would we change and why?
Better blood.
Hold on. If you were stuck with the $1 million budget, because remember,
Makeup.
that budget has to go to the actors
Makeup.
You know what?
and
blood.
the crew.
I would rather have no
Yes.
zombie makeup than that zombie makeup.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they could just
Makeup,
act
blood,
better.
and not so many ridiculous, goofy crap when they raid the mall.
Right.
Those are the three things that I would have bettered.
Just absurd.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm willing to say I also would have changed the soundtrack a little bit more.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good point.
70s
I'm willing-
circus
Good point.
music is
I'm
really
will-
off point.
I'm willing to fully say I would mainly change the soundtrack and get rid of some of those scenes and replace them with a few others.
I would
Yes.
definitely budget for some acting classes. Too.
Yes.
Well, again, a lot of them were crew members. It's not like, and they were doing it off a really small budget.
That
I
was
wouldn't necessarily say
Really
that's easy.
sweet of them,
I'm
but
saying- I'm saying, Peter.
That's the
was
reason why I
great,
was
the
being
blonde
easy
was
on them
great,
with that.
Steve and Michael were both a little. They could use a
Yeah,
little work.
yes.
They could use a little work.
but
with
the rest of the actors on there,
Abysmal.
yeah.
And remember, think about it. Most of those people were locals of the area. They were only just going to do
I'm
one
not trying
scene.
to crap on them. I'm just
we're
saying
just
they're
telling you.
terrible
You asked
actors.
us a question.
All
We're
right.
just giving you
They're
an
just
answer.
terrible
Yeah.
All right, for me
Great
though,
people, though. Lovely
mainly
people.
I would actually have gotten extra actors for the biker gang and make them a lot more threatening.
Right, then good.
Yeah.
More,
Yes, 'cause
I
they
guess
were
more a
goofy.
little bit more unhinged
Right.
to a point where you don't really know what they're thinking, but they can be just as intelligent.
More ominous.
Almost
not,
like,
not so
and yes, I'm gonna do
goofy.
this.
Right.
I'm thinking someone similar to Negan. Someone
Right.
who actually believes he's doing something for the greater good,
And
when in
Negan was
reality
really
he is just an
terrifying in the
absolute
beginning.
asshole.
Right. In
Yeah.
the beginning, he was horrifying.
Yeah.
That whole biker thing, that was just ridiculous. Not that the idea of it would have been fine if they had
It's
made
if
it
they had
so
If they had
ridiculous.
presented it better.
Exactly.
I would present that better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Other than that, though, other than those, yes, I would say change the makeup a little bit. Maybe make them a little bit more decayed.
Well, they don't even need. It looked like they plastered makeup on, and they could have done just the same with maybe a little less makeup.
I would have taken some of the racist beats out, like the
Oh, yeah,
sombrero,
that too.
the Hare Krishna, the really disgusting remarks in the very first 10 minutes.
Yeah, there was a lot.
You
of
have to admit, though, it was kind of fun to watch him die.
It is kind of that era, though.
It was
It was
You
the
have to
era, so you
really
got to take that into
representative.
account.
It was politically representative.
Yes, true.
I agree.
Not to mention, he did get his comeuppance pretty early in the movie. You
He
just
does.
flat out get shot by one of his own cop buddies of all things.
Right.
Peter shot him.
And we were all very thrilled about
Honestly, I was like, dude, you finally got what was coming to you, man. You literally had a target saying, "Kill me."
Because I'm a big dick.
Right.
But yeah, I think I'm with them. I would have definitely changed up the makeup and all that,
I
and I
wouldn't change
definitely
the story though. I think the plot was a
The
good
plot
idea.
itself was actually pretty good.
And I think he says on the TV at one point that there's what did he say? I had written it down. That they were testing in laboratories in Atlanta. So the CDC, that's their headquarters, correct? Their main
I think so.
headquarters?
I think so.
So they were working on a cure. There's always this little subplot running through Romero's themes that he doesn't fully develop this plot, but he throws just enough out that it's like a puzzle.
It's up to interpretation.
Right. It's there. It's in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool as well.
That's very cool. So
All
I
right.
wouldn't change the story, just the acting and the
True.
makeup.
All right. Now we're going to get into the questions. Now, this is, of course, bringing up... The first one is about Dawn of the Dead's remake and the original. If they... And here's... Actually, this is an interesting question. If they had decided to make the movie similar to Dawn of the Dead remake, do you think it would have been praised a lot more?
Yes.
If they had made Dawn of the Dead the first, like the
The
90s
remake.
version.
The remake was the original version.
If
and
the remake was the original version.
Yeah, and the
Yes.
original version was the remake.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely would have been
Yes.
perceived better because that
Yeah.
movie it's way more cohesive
Yes,
on
way
every
more.
and every facet of
Yep,
it. It's
yep.
it's ominous. It's more of
Yes.
like a horror movie in my
Yeah.
opinion, whereas the previous version of it, the
It's like a
original,
joke.
is like it's campy. It's totally ridiculous. at
Definitely
parts.
campy.
So I certainly think they would have taken. It would have been perceived better.
It would have it would have done better in the theaters.
Right.
For
True.
sure.
Because it's not goofy.
Yeah.
True.
not
Yeah,
goofy.
they definitely took a more serious tone with that one, like they did with the
Definitely.
Evil Dead remake. They
Definitely.
made it more serious.
Right.
Definitely.
I mean, you can have humor, but like.
Yeah.
There's,
Not
there
over the
is
top.
such a thing
Well,
as
and I
too
like
much
the-
humor in a horror film.
I like the
Right.
fact that they had the guy that was in the building across from
Andy?
them, and
Andy,
how they
yeah.
were like communicating
Ving
via.
Rhames, writing
yeah.
on the whiteboard.
But yeah, if you
Yes.
think about it, when they were flying around, they didn't see any other buildings around, so that type of thing wouldn't have happened.
Right.
True, but
So I think that would be. I think that's the reason why the remake actually makes it work, because they're
Yeah.
setting it in a more big city instead of a
plus
small area.
they didn't have the stupid bikers ridiculousness
Right.
stuff.
No, they had ominous
yeah.
characters in their group
Yes,
with that
yes.
bitchy guy.
Yes,
What's
the
his
one with the
name?
mustache.
Right.
Yeah.
That Sarah
Yes.
Polly fucking love her. She shoots him
Yes.
all like, I got it. Bang.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
And everybody was like, damn, girl.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
That was
for
great.
for what it was worth, though, I think I'm with them on this one. I think it would have been well more received
Absolutely.
in the 1970s if it was. But however, I do understand the cultural relevance.
Right.
I think it actually
Sure.
works better in. I think that's the reason why that it would be hard for me to choose whether I would put it as the one for that, because the cultural relevance of the original is what made it what it is. It's definitely not the Dawn of the Dead remake where there was almost no cultural significance at all,
I don't.
except more on the generation
The thing is, though,
generational
is
level.
Night of the Living Dead was a smash hit.
Right.
Dawn of the Dead was not.
No.
It was
You know
not
what, though?
watched as much. It wasn't.
No, it was.
You know, the
It was.
remake-
It was such a success. They got.
I
They
don't
wanted.
think
They
would-
started another sequel afterwards.
Yeah, but I don't think it was.
I think the
nothing,
remake of Dawn of the Dead had cultural relevance because it's pretty
Yeah.
liberal. It's,
Yeah.
you know.
It's more on a. It's more on a generational thing, with kids born in the 2000s and all that.
Right.
More
but
like they're
that's
trying to
culturally
get
relevant.
teenagers in the seats.
You know
back
what
in-
was
Yeah, but
shocking
that's
about
like
the?
culturally relevant to the time, to the 90s. You
True.
know what I mean? You have to give credit to that.
I
It
thought
spoke
it
to its
was
audience.
interesting that the heavyset gal
Mm-hmm.
in the remake that was actually a man.
Oh yeah, and the stunt guy. He's
Yeah.
a stunt guy, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
thought that was crazy. Did you know that?
I actually did not know that.
You know the heavyset lady that they wheel around in the
Oh,
in the
yeah.
wheelbarrow? That's actually a man, not a woman.
Damn.
Yeah.
I like. It was like this movie, the remake of Dawn, had like the first 15 minutes are so abrupt, so brutal. I thought it
Yeah.
really set the tone really well.
Very, yeah. And I like the fact that they had all those extras on the DVD too.
Yeah, all the
Yeah,
it was fun.
because that was interesting.
It was
And
interesting.
and I like the dialogue from Andy.
Mhm.
It talked, because
Oh,
we
yeah.
don't see a lot of that
We
dialogue.
don't know. We didn't
And
get to
then
see his
it
character
showed,
as much.
all the
Yeah.
dialogue throughout his whole time,
Right.
talking with them and stuff. It was
You
good.
know, we didn't talk at all about the fact that there is the quote unquote extended version of Night of the Living Dead that came out in the 90s.
Oh yes,
With all
I have
this
the 30th
weird-
edition, and yes,
so
it had
weird.
a lot
It
of
has-
extra stuff that we were not prepared for.
No, it's very. The preacher is so over the top and so.
I don't like it. I'm glad they
revolting.
didn't. I'm glad
I
they
know.
didn't put it in.
They kept like one tiny bit of that in the
Oh
the
wow.
Dawn of the Dead remake.
Um,
Remember that?
Okay. And this actually answers a question. How much money did Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead get during its initial run in 1978 and in 1968? Because remember, there was a 10-year gap between both movies.
And you have to consider the fact that they charged more for the movies and everything too. So
Right.
you have to base that.
All right.
on that.
So, for All right, we're gonna start off with Night of the Living Dead. The budget originally was around $114,000 US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
The box office, $30 million.
Okay, now what
Which
about
is
Dawn of the
insane.
That's
What about
insane.
Dawn
That
of
is
the
an
Dead?
insane jump for back in 1968, especially for a budget of that low.
Okay, now what about Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead had a budget of $1.5 million.
And made
That's
It got
shocking.
back $66 million.
That's unbelievable.
that is unbelievable.
That's the and yes, according to it,
Wiki lies.
IMDb
No way!
IMDb gave it 8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 94%. Metacritic 71.
Wow.
What the hell?
So it was praised.
So the world is ending.
And then of course we have Night of the Living Dead. Same reviews, except Metacritic gave it 89. So they are saying that it is definitely superior to the original Superior, but however, it shows that the movie was successful, especially for what it was worth. And now, and I know I'm.
Unbelievable. I don't know.
And then, of course, we're going to look at the Day of the Dead box office. Now, this movie, I personally don't like whatsoever. But
Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead?
Day of the Dead. This was
We
the
didn't watch
third.
that one.
This was the third movie
I know. I'm trying to think.
made by
I'm
George
sure
A. Romero.
I'm sure
in
I've seen it.
1985.
I'm sure I've seen
85.
it. So what is the basis of it? Is it in a church out in like Mexico or something?
Nope, it's an underground facility. Humanity is nearly gone.
We didn't see
Oh,
that one. I didn't see
think
it.
I know which one. No, but we can watch it though, just to get kind of an idea.
I'm telling you guys, I personally did not like that movie whatsoever.
I think I know which one you were talking
Here's the thing,
about.
and even the review critics agree with me.
Wow.
IMDb
And
gave
you
it
like
7.
Halloween 3.
Here's the thing.
I mean,
IMDb.
Okay, we're gonna have to watch it now.
No,
'cause
the
now
only
we're
reason
gonna
why I
have
don't like it is because I think they took it a little too far with the goofiness.
to- more goofy than Dawn of the Dead.
Yes!
Wow.
There is a scientist talking to a dead zombie.
Well, you know.
Then, of course, we have
Was it a
IMDb
good
that gave it 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's what you have to ask yourself.
Hold on.
was it a
You
worthwhile
know what?
combo?
It might have been because, after being by yourself for so long.
You go
I can-
crack
No,
jacks.
they weren't alone. There was an entire community underground. There is no excuse.
Okay, but that's pretty original story.
I talk to myself. I talk to my animals.
All right.
Everybody talks
Anyway,
to animals.
if we're gonna go with the reviews, IMDb gave it 7 out of 10. It's not a bad movie. It's just there are things that make it awkward.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch
Rotten
it.
Tomatoes
I'm
is
fascinated now.
83%,
I'm morbidly, horrifyingly
and
curious.
Metacritic gave it 60.
Okay, now we're gonna have to do a review of our review and.
And then, of course, we have the budget that was $3.5 million. It gained only $34 million, so less than 10 times the original amount that they had. Where Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead gained way more than that movie ever earned.
I can't wait to review Shaun of the Dead.
I don't
Actually,
know if I can pay attention enough.
you know what?
Because I love that movie. And
You know
I've
what?
seen it so
I
many
think that'd be
times.
interesting.
I
How
can't
about-
dissect it. I'm just gonna be like, oh, I love this part.
All right,
You know?
but all right. So we already know what movies we're going to be reviewing. Well, not next time. Next time we're doing on July 3rd. We're going to be doing Rocky Horror Picture Show and Independence Day.
We should probably do them separate because they're
No, the
completely
reason why I
unrelated.
want to do Independence Day is because it is going to be
I think
Independence
we
Day
should
the
do
next.
Independence Day, but do Rocky Horror Picture Show another day.
Okay, then how about we do Independence Day 1 and 2?
Oh, yeah, there's a
There is a
second
sequel.
Okay, I gotta get it then, or see if it's on.
Don't worry, you have plenty of time. It won't be until July 3rd.
All
one.
right,
Wait,
yeah,
did
I
we
think
finish
that's
our retro evolution or whatever?
Yeah, basically we'll do. Yeah, we already finished that one because
okay.
remember we only had to do Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead gave. 50.
Okay, let's do. Yeah, we can do Rocky Horror Picture Show down the.
All right, sounds
down
good.
the-
You heard it
because
from here,
actually they are
folks.
completely irrelevant to each other.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and actually, Independence Day is a perfect.
Independence Day.
I
Because
want to
of it,
state
yeah.
outright though that it's completely OT. Excuse me,
Yeah.
but the Night of the Living Dead remake with the extended scenes from the '90s is absolute crap, and no, you should not watch it.
No.
Do not recommend it.
No.
Yeah.
0 out of 0.
And thank God that they did not put those parts in the one that they showed in the theater.
Right. Well, no, that's the extra footage was shot in the 90s. Remember how
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
like
I didn't like it.
it looks like it was made in the 90s and
Yeah.
they're trying for
I
the
didn't
50s,
like
but
it.
it looks like the 80s?
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
No, it was
Yeah,
it was terrible.
ugh. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, here comes another question, and this actually is for you, Puganator.
Oh.
From your expertise in horror movies, since I've watched a few of your episodes, what would you recommend to surviving a zombie apocalypse if you were put in that situation? The only reason why I'm asking is because me and my friends are doing a D&D sort of exploration thing, and we were wondering what type of one we should go
ammo, a machete.
Like, what places would you hide in? For one,
Ooh.
that would be my first question. Second question: what weapons would you use? And this is not including
Probably a wine cellar.
Also, good lord,
I could live on
you
wine.
literally broke me. Okay. Second question: what weapons would you use? Not including firearms, since this D&D session I want to do.
Machete.
And third,
mallet.
And third,
A sarissa.
what type of
I don't even know what a sarissa is.
It's a long pike.
Okay.
Yeah. And the third question is, would you be more trusting of others, or would you try to go solo if you could?
I wouldn't go solo, but I would be very cautious.
All right, so
Because I know human nature.
all right, so we already have that. And the second question is, what weapon would you use that isn't a
Machete.
firearm? So machete. All right, so you're gonna go the Jason route. Okay.
Yes.
And finally, the last question, which was technically the first: what location would you be able to hold yourself out in that would actually be able to guarantee your survival longer?
I already told you, a wine cellar. No.
You're serious?
No.
Okay, good. I'm
I
like,
would
good
say-
lord, you're gonna kill yourself on the alcohol more than you're gonna kill yourself on the zombies.
I would say a grocery store.
Ooh.
The only con, though, is that there's too many windows.
So, you know, my sister and I talked about it, and we agreed Walmart because they sell guns.
That's true. Not only that,
They sell
Walmart,
guns, and they
a
have
Walmart
food.
or a Target, because they have clothing, food. It's like a mall almost.
It is like a
What
mall.
about Costco? Would Costco
Ooh,
work too?
Costco
Do they
would
have
be really
guns?
good.
No, but I think they should
However-
have something.
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
said
but-
we couldn't do guns.
Okay, but I bring up
So-
another point.
They
Everybody's
do
gonna
have knives there,
know.
though.
Everybody's gonna know that that's the place to go to in an apocalypse is like a grocery store or
Master Chief
know.
2011 said a winery.
a winery.
Yeah. Costco would be good because Costco doesn't have windows.
Not to
First
mention the
of
entire.
all-
Not to mention the building is huge.
And it's all concrete. Second of all, you've got clothes, you've got food, the frozen section.
But again,
You have knives.
Oh, not only that, the doors are
Metal.
solid metal, so that
Yes,
you could shut and
yes.
lock them.
Absolutely Costco.
okay, yes, but there's also the point that people are going to think of this. Survivors are going to think of this, and they're going to want your resources and attack you. That's the first place they're
Yeah,
going
but
to
it's
go.
concrete and metal. They're not going to get in.
They will. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Actually,
Okay,
I think
well.
that in a way, since Costco has a lot of stuff in it, wouldn't it actually be beneficial to trade? That way,
Trade or
heck,
but
bring them
that's-
into your
bring them
group and
in.
actually have them help you
Yes.
out.
Right,
Although
that's
that
the
never
plan.
works.
That's a
No, not
utopian
entirely.
concept
Yes.
there,
Not
brother.
entirely.
That's utopian.
Not
Yes.
entirely.
This is
Look at
dystopian.
Walking Dead. They had a group of people that they got into their group and they helped them out during their
Yeah, but it
Yes,
almost
and
never
then-
happens.
Unfortunately,
And
they
then
died.
Immediately following the peaceful. 5
Actually, it's
minutes.
more like
Yeah.
it's more like they died before they ever really got a chance to really fully develop.
Because they got attacked by.
I
other
still
They got
say-
attacked by
I
zombies.
still
Well, and
say
people.
Costco. Oh, Paul, Master Chief says a sportsman warehouse.
Yeah, but you have.
Oh,
to
that's
have
actually
food.
really good.
Yeah, I know
But you have to have
Costco.
food as well. You have to
Costco.
find a happy medium.
Costco would be a better
Costco,
bet
yeah.
because
a
there
shopping
are
complex. You know,
Costco.
would be a good idea, like a shopping complex. Where
with
there's
Walmart.
like a-
No,
Walmart's
because they're attached. You can't go from one thing to the next unless you go outside. Costco has
But
everything.
you also have to have an escape route because supplies run out.
There's back doors.
No, but I'm saying like you have to have like a solid plan. Like
Well,
you
as
have to
long
have
as
an
there's-
escape vehicle. You
Well,
know.
and they have big trucks.
That is true.
They
There's a
have
bunch
big
of big
trucks
trucks in
there.
the warehouses
Plus,
next
a
to the
lot of
store.
times they're relatively close to other malls and this
And not
that.
to mention, most Costco's have gas stations,
Which
which
worst
means you have
case
plenty of
scenario,
chances to
you
get
gas
fuel,
it up.
travel
the
to
one who
areas
said
around.
Costco. Why are you guys yelling at me?
Okay, hang on. First of all, no, you did not say Costco. You said Walmart.
No, I said a Walmart-like place, and then like.
You said
Costco.
Walmart. I'm sorry.
Because they have guns.
I'm the one who
and
suggested
food.
Costco. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I did not say that. It was the fan who said that. Because they actually suggested, what about Costco and all the others?
I agree then.
Anything like Costco is gonna work, but you have to have an escape route.
Gas,
And also
big trucks.
any like Target,
Concrete
Walmart, Costco have
walls.
pharmacies as well.
That is
Costco
true.
has
Pharmacy.
pharmacies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Yes.
definitely worked out. Yeah, honestly though, if I were to choose one of the three, I would definitely go with Costco because not only do they have a larger array of supplies, food, medicine, and all that, you actually have a lot more to survive on in that
Yeah.
particular case.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Okay, and this one is actually for you.
Okay.
If you were to put yourself in something of a Shaun of the Dead, more like a comedic sense of a zombie film,
Yeah.
what would your character be like if you were to be put in that scenario? Would you be more like a comedian like the rest of them, or would you try to be the more serious character?
Oh, I'm sarcastic no matter what my emotion I'm feeling, so I would be the sarcastic one.
I would think you'd
Alright.
be like the girlfriend.
The girlfriend?
Right.
Like,
She's
hey.
kind of but she's kind of cocky,
Oh.
and she puts it in your puts him in his place.
Oh yeah, I could definitely do that.
Mhm.
All right.
I totally could see you doing that.
And
I'd be the mother. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Hey, there's some badass mothers in
No,
horror films.
I
There's
would
some
be.
badass mothers,
I
yeah.
would be.
Look at Ellen Ripley.
Right,
She's
we
technically
love
the most badass freaking mother in the
She
universe.
is. She is. We love Ripley.
I would be.
You think I would be the girlfriend?
Yeah, I would be the girlfriend's best
I think
friend.
I would be leading the boyfriend because Sean's kind of a
For me, it's either
Yeah,
I'm.
you and I. You would be the girlfriend. I'd be the girlfriend's girlfriend.
right.
And then we would be like the leader of the pack, as the men are just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, ouch, and two.
I love them. Don't get me wrong.
Here's the thing.
I love them.
Here's the
We love-
thing.
we love Nick.
I would think I would either be the leader or I would be more of the tech expert of the group.
Nathaniel would be the chunky one.
The tech.
Yes, totally.
You could definitely be the tech support.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. You can handle that.
I agree. I totally see you being the. I couldn't remember his name. I think he's adorable though.
Oh,
The chunky
Nick
guy.
Frost.
Yeah,
Nick
yeah.
Frost.
He's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. All right.
I could see Nathaniel getting in the car. Remember when he gets in the car? Yeah,
What?
him racing around, and it was a BMW or
Oh,
something,
hell yeah.
Mercedes or
He's
something.
like taking the mom for a ride
Yes,
in a BMW.
yes, I
Oh,
can totally see you doing that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I'd be running over zombies all day.
yeah.
Though, unfortunately, that is actually not as practical as you'd think because that is a lot of damage and could easily destroy your car.
Yes, and you need a vehicle.
Yeah, so I suggest, be more careful on the road and don't try to run over zombies unless you have no other choice.
Right,
Right.
because it's gonna get mucked up in your car.
Yeah,
and then
much
you'll
like
be
Master Chief's
deer situation.
deer situation
Ugh.
with all the guts underneath.
So that's
the,
a good question,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Like, where do you see yourself in not necessarily a particular film, but like in an apocalyptical situation? What do you think how do you think you'll handle it?
I think definitely me, either leader or support tech expert.
I would
maybe
be a
for me.
support. I would not be a leader because I'm just not that kind of person.
See, I'm easygoing, whereas I'm like, I'll follow you if you have a good idea, but if
Yes.
it's a dumb idea, I'm gonna tell you to your face.
Yes, but
and I'm
that's
gonna
not
give you a better
leader.
idea, and
That's
I'm gonna
not
lead
a
it.
leader, but that's more of a.
Someone who
But
keeps
I'll-
someone
yes,
grounded.
Yes,
But I
you're
will
a
step up
grounder.
and lead if nobody else will.
You're
Yeah, but
ground.
you're a
You're
grounder.
someone who keeps someone grounded in reality.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
I see Paul. I see Master Chief or
retro or
Retro. Yeah, I see them as being more of the leader type, and not because they're men, but because they're just.
I think it's mainly
I don't know.
charisma, mainly.
Yeah,
Charisma,
maybe.
in a way, is surprisingly very effective if you happen to have it. Master Chief, I know him. He's my dad, you all know. He has a tendency of,
Taking over things and just kind of.
but doing it in the right way. He inspires people,
He does,
but
yeah.
also gets them motivated to work.
Whereas
It's the reason why
we're
he's done
more-
so well in the
we're more
military.
the, okay, you know what? Tell me exactly what to do to make this whole situation better. and we're on it.
Yeah, and not to mention,
Proactive.
he is willing to hear suggestions.
Right.
But at the same time, when he knows something's wrong, he's going to spell it out to you. And if you're not going to listen, then he's going to make you learn the lesson yourself. He's not willing to just hold your hand through the whole thing.
Right.
And trust me on that. And for me, I'm more someone who's much willing to inspire others and support them as best I can. But at the same time, I'm willing to take charge if necessary. That's how I see myself in that particular role if I was in a leadership role. Yeah. So mine's definitely different from his, but more on the same prospect and same goal in mind.
You're kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I'm more in the middle in that case. Middle of leadership and support. So that really definitely
We kind of are too, sort of, but not.
You two are more
either.
support roles, I believe, because you keep people more grounded and you're willing to keep their spirits up.
I'm kind of a sensible one. I'm usually the one that's like, okay, well, I don't think that's probably a good idea.
I'm not sure that I would follow someone if I felt like they were making bad choices, though. I think I would be like...
Well, you're more outspoken by far.
I think I would go off
on
my own if I felt like I was being in danger.
I kind of am, too.
You know?
I would not go off on my own, though.
If the person in your group is leading you down choices that are going to get you killed, why would you keep following them?
Oh, well, in that case, yeah, you're right.
Then I would leave. I'd just be like, peace out, bitch, go die. I'm going to go over here and try not, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd probably follow you.
Well, that'd be fine.
But yeah, basically, still, thank you for the question, though.
Yeah.
We'll do one more before we end this episode, and it's actually kind of interesting. She actually wrote to all three of us, if you were put in a situation in a zombie apocalypse sort of thing, like in Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead, do you think your morality would change over time, or would it remain the same?
Oh, it would change.
Well, it's survival.
Yeah.
You can't let your emotions dictate. You have to keep yourself safe and fed.
And I think that's an evolving thing.
It is. I think your morality definitely alters.
Yeah, it evolves.
It evolves.
You have no choice.
Actually, it's more like it goes into a mixed bag. Some people, unfortunately, just throw their morality out the window.
Right.
Others keep a hold of it no matter what, and then there are some who adapt.
I would certainly try.
That's me. I would adapt.
I would personally adapt myself, even though I personally don't like doing it. I know that if I adapt myself, I will survive, and I might even be able to keep some of my morality in check.
Right. Yes, I agree.
I think I would do what I needed to do to survive, but I would do my utmost not to harm another person.
Yeah, so you're basically adapting to the situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
It's
survival mode. You know what I mean?
However, I have seen situations where people are willing to just go to the deepest, darkest depths of hell, just so they'd be able to survive. Where others, they stick so true to their morality that they're willing to die just to make sure that nothing bad happens.
That they don't do anything, exactly.
But, what a really great question to end on.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, morality itself can be very, very... It can be a very tricky situation, especially if you're in a horror movie or a zombie apocalypse and all that, because one choice could just completely change your entire perspective.
And I think you never really know
until
you're in that situation.
As a whole.
I think everybody is generally. That's a general, But I think you'll never know. I think you never know until you're faced with like a life or death situation. How you're going to react to that. But I think we all hope for the best.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Actually, this kind of reminds me of the corrupted blood incident in World of Warcraft, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the CDC should have used this to deal with the whole COVID situation. Yeah, I'm talking to you, CDC, you dumb bastards. But yeah, basically here's what happened. There was this ailment that you get in the game where if you were to be infected, you constantly lose blood and basically HP until you die. Well, turns out someone had decided to take
HB?
Health points.
Oh.
Basically, you take your pet.
Your life.
Hemoglobin? I mean, what?
No.
Basically,
someone had the idea to have their pet infected. They pocketed it so that their health doesn't deplete and everything. And they still have the virus on it. They go into a major city, release it, and then all hell breaks loose.
That's terrible.
I'm not even joking. The corrupted blood hit everyone. Everyone was there were people who were spreading
So
the
it's like
infection.
biological warfare.
That's terrible.
No, that was just them pulling a prank, but it turned out it was actually pretty dang harsh. There were people who were actually spreading the virus, and there were others who were trying to purge it by killing the infected. And there were those who were trying to build forts to keep people that are safe inside and everyone else out.
Personally,
it was such a pandemic that Blizzard actually had to reset the servers just to reset everything back to before that incident happened.
Personally,
Basically, purging everyone.
Personally, I pray that nothing like,
Zombie.
an apocalypse like that, nothing like that ever happens.
Well, we clearly don't handle our shit real well.
Obviously.
Considering that COVID is literally what was happening during the corrupted blood incident,
Right.
you think the CDC would have known. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep blaming you guys for not using what we went through in this particular scenario. You guys are complete dumbasses.
Well, I think you have to take into acknowledgement, too, that humans in general are just not very smart sometimes.
Unfortunately, no.
So, it's a crapshoot.
Unfortunately. Hopefully, this time they'll learn.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I want to thank Billie, Petal, and Puganator2020 for joining us here today.
Thank you for having us.
For Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Personally, I love the first movie by far. The second one, I actually do appreciate. Because it did set a lot of the tropes that would be known throughout most of zombie history now.
Totally agree.
And honestly, I can't wait to do Independence Days 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited to see what you guys think of the second movie. Because I know she's seen the first one.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
one
and
of
I
my
love
favorite
the first
movies.
one. Yeah.
But the second one,
Yeah.
I've actually seen the second one in a drive-in movie theater. So I actually got a chance to watch that movie. You guys haven't seen it yet.
No,
I'm actually really
yeah,
excited to see what you guys think.
All right.
Also, next week's episode is going to be on Ghost I have to do this. My friend made me do this. Basically, we're going to be doing a review of the video game known as Ghost of Tsushima. And it's basically it's almost like watching a samurai movie, but you get to play in it.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
actually really cool.
That's very cool.
If you guys ever get a chance, I'll have to show you the game later. One of these days. And of course, the week after that, we're going to have Puganator joining us for a review of Prince of Egypt and the 10 Commandments.
Oh.
Nice.
And honestly, if you two want to join in, it's totally up to you guys. But honestly, if you guys do join, I would like you guys to try to watch the movies and see what you guys think would be
I love
the best one.
The Prince of Egypt. That was one of my. I had this out.
Personally, I think it's gonna be, for me, it's not just gonna be review, but it's also gonna be a showdown between.
Saturday?
That's gonna be the
next
Saturday after.
Before Independence Day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's gonna be on June 26th.
I don't have the Prince of Egypt. Do you?
No, but it's available. You could actually rent it on YouTube for $3.99, and I think it's available as an extra for Hulu when you do some of its stuff.
I'll look.
Maybe it's available on Amazon Prime. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Also, so Independence Day 1 and 2 happening on July 3rd. June 26th, Puganator and I are reviewing Prince of Egypt and the 10 Commandments. And on the 19th, we are going to be reviewing Ghost of Tsushima for the 19th, which is next week. I hope you guys get a chance to check it out. I'm actually really excited to review it. So far, I've actually been pretty freaking obsessed with the game.
Is it very Kill Billy?
No, it's actually very much like those old-style samurai movies.
Oh, how funny.
That's wild.
Which is actually really cool because those samurai movies, those old classic ones, are fantastic.
Yeah, they're cool.
So,
they're cool.
do you guys have any final words to say before heading out?
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us. It's both good movies.
All right. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. I'll see you all next time. This is Mr. Retroactive signing out.